Welcome everybody to the Call of Duty Challengers Elite community stream here. It's time for stage 5, the final stage of the season, and who better to kick it off with than my good friend Enigma. Of course, I am Infinity, joining him for today's stream. Andy, I'm so excited to get into this one. We have some incredible matches ahead of us today.
Brody, I can't wait for this. We have been seeing some of the best teams come together for this for such a long time. We've watched players develop, players fall off, teams, new partnerships, everything throughout this year. And now we get down to the final stage. This is the last chance to go for those big pro points. There's a lot of cheddar on the line, obviously. And, well, this all folds into towards those LCQs. So we all get started today, and I can't wait to see what kind of storylines get written.
Ah, dude, it's going to be crazy, really, isn't it? Just how tumultuous this season has been for a variety of teams. You know, we started out the European season with Challengers Elite with 7 teams who were undisputedly the best 7 teams in Europe, and then again there was an 8th team that was there. We won't mention them, but you know, and that stability, the foundations that were very strong at the start of the season, very quickly dissipated to the point where we're now at with Challengers where literally anybody can win it. We've had Cinderella story after Cinderella story. We're looking at teams such as Emilia Strays, Los Pepes coming in and upsetting the status quo. And we're in stage 5. That could still well happen here. And today we're going to be kicking things off with teams that maybe we will be doing exactly that, of course. Teams that are in very different positions with Rejects V2 and Team War. Now, let's start with the latter here to kick us off here, Andy, because Team War, of course, you know, going all the way back to stage 1. Of course, they were with a different name back then, but nonetheless, they still ended up winning stage 1 in European challenges. Since then, though, it's been a bit of a downhill journey, hasn't it?
It has. I think that at some point over the year, teams either figured out how to play against them, or that side just lost some sort of belief in themselves. But either way, they really started to fall apart and just become kind of a. They're still a top end team and have been throughout most of the season, but more fleeting on the edge rather than being at the top. And I think even going back to the last elite stage, I still think that they'll be disappointed with themselves in the results because these guys have the quality to really take the fight to the top teams. And last time out, I think it was again a little bit of a whimper rather than a big bang for them. So I mean, look, hopefully it happens again. We know how passionate this fan base are. We speak about it all the time, right? We love them, and I don't know. Let's just hope that they come out with the same kind of fire that we've come to respect from this side.
Yeah, War definitely still a threat. Let's not, you know, underestimate these guys. The talent on this roster is just insane. You know, you're looking at some of 3 of the best players going into last season. We got Journey from Atlanta FaZe Academy doing bits over in North America. Then, of course, Lucky and Metals, who, despite not getting all that much play time on Toronto Ultra, was still there, and for good reason. They were a very talented duo, a Spanish duo on that Canadian roster. And now, of course, Yako, the newest addition to the squad. Hopefully, they can pick things up. Now, they're doing it today against Rejects V2, a roster of effective scraps. We have BB Connor, Hawkey, Saiyan, and Disable. I said this about many teams during the qualifier. This is just yet another one of those teams where I just wouldn't put these players together. If you'd asked me to put a squad together, these would not be the 4 players that I'd put on the same team. And yet it worked, right? They made the Cinderella run in the qualifier.
They did, and if I remember right, we casted over them at the weekend, and they went down into losers immediately, losing 3-0 to Belgium Power. I think the 2 of the games were quite close. I think they were overrun a little bit in the hard point, but then they went on that losers run, so that shows some grit. Maybe they just hadn't warmed up in that series. Maybe they just found something within themselves. But it's a good group of players that, yeah, you're right. It's a bit of a mismatch, right? But
Right.
at the same time, I think that the fact that they've shown that undertone, that spine within them, sets themselves up for a possible couple of upsets. And we've seen it many times this year, as you've alluded to with the Cinderella story. So we could be in for another one here. They're really going to have to bring that fire early, though, because as you said, War, still very talented. So this is a tough first game out.
Yeah, for sure. And let's just very briefly talk about this sort of Rejects roster and their history as individuals. Because as I said, kind of this roster of scraps per se that have come together for stage 5 for the final stage of Challengers Elite this season. And just to give you guys sort of the composition of this roster again. So it's BB Connor. Yeah, he started out the season, you know, all the way back in stage 1 with the highly successful obtained esports roster. You know, he's now here again. This is his first Elite appearance since stage 1, by the way, which is insane, at least in me, right? Because BB Connor is, at least in my mind, at the very beginning of the season, I would describe him as one of the best AR players we had actually in European challenges at the time.
Yeah, it is a weird one because he's one of the players that I've definitely wanted to keep track of, especially at the start of the season. That obtained roster that was so good, himself and Harry and a couple of others. But It's just, yeah, no, he's probably meandered on the edge a little bit, come back into it this stage, and I think has a point to prove in this one.
Yeah, for sure. Indeed, they do. Well, I believe our game is ready to get underway. In just a second, we're going to be loading into map number 1. We have no idea what it is, by the way, so this is going to be absolutely fun for us here. But I'm excited to get into it regardless. Of course, this is Rejects versus Team War to kick us off. And, well, we've got a few things to sort out on the graphics side.
Seconds have already been burned through, so the money hill that Reject would have wanted here, not necessarily the case, and they need to be perfect from here to pull themselves back in.
Indeed, they do. Side looking for the kill against Journey, does actually end up getting it. One more coming his way. It's going to be Yakko, the new addition to War. It's not enough as Hawkey's the AK-74U just a little bit better as Rejects now starting to put some time together off the back of this hard point. And for War at the moment, again, classic, just move over towards the rotation, zone in. You know Rejects are going to be coming out of dark. And the positioning is there to try and hold off these players from the rotation. Now up to Journey to try and get some of these exit kills. Gets the first. Not gonna wait. Turn onto the second there versus Hawkey and Disable. It doesn't happen. Instead, it's gonna have to be Nettles that will pick up the slack here. He will end up falling. And now Rejects actually spawning out over towards P2 will actually get into the time. Green control in for a Rejects.
Yeah, we're weird spawn again. I'm not sure if I missed something, but they do get that spawn on that side. Collapse on through and squeeze Yakko out of top green, giving them that control. Hawkey's going to extend himself out onto a 5. A fantastic start from him. Are we going to see him play his life a little bit, maybe slow it down and play for some streaks that we know can be crucial for a couple of these hills? Or are they going to continue to contest? Here in Trash and then onto P5, very scrappy, so you can afford to be a bit further back than needing to play straight through the front.
That's a nice kill coming in from Disable. 2-piece, of course, for the latest player for this Rejects V2 squad. And now it's going to be Hawkey on a 7 spree. He's already turned himself the artillery strike. Cruise missile would be fine and dandy. Unfortunately, not going to get it. And I say unfortunately only for Rejects. For War, that is going to be a crucial stop later on in this game. You do not want to be facing down a cruise missile and an artillery strike. Not on this map. That much is for sure. We're looking at this hard point for the moment. It's going to be more inside. Hawkey looks to come on through. Will pick up one. Trades in, though. And if you look at the positioning for War, they are primed to get quite a bit of time off this hill, Andy.
Yeah, they've broken down so many different power positions here, Brody. They've managed to clear them pretty much off of back tank, which is where they're trying to get themselves surrounded now. They've got presence in brick. Top green is irrelevant at this point. So they're doing a great job of zoning Rejects out. That being said, that's a big gunfight win from Saiyan, because this is going to allow them to possibly get themselves up through top green and attempt a bit of a flank here. Huge potential here for Saiyan.
What can Saiyan do? Big kill if he can make it happen. He doesn't though. Journey, he's zoning. He's only able to get one though. Weak for the second. So Disable will actually win that gunfight and should hold on to that power position for a little bit longer. If he can play his life for some time, that would be huge. Now he loses his gunfight, so a lot of the power now is going to be the hand of Hawkeye, who, well, I was going to say they didn't know he was in dark. Now they most certainly do, and War, with that information, should keep an eye, an eagle eye, I would say, on Hawkeye inside dark. Not going to be there for long enough though, as Team War are going to take him out, and now it's Team War in for this time. Andy, at this point in time, this is a hill where really they could start to pull away in this game.
They could. This really could be dangerous because, again, if they chain 1 into 2, this becomes a massive lead, and Rejects need to find a way to punch on through. The SMGs need to find more success, but right now it's the AR of Lucky that has got this entire side locked down, and, oh, Disable gets a disgusting little 2-piece there. He's had a couple of moments in this game. Perhaps one of the surprises up at this level, I'd say, throughout this year. I don't know if I'd be doing him a bit of a harsh justice there, but definitely showing that he's got the gun skill where it matters, as Saiyan, who does need to heat up, extends himself onto a 3, and actually Rejects doing a great job here. Only a 10-point gap. They're scrapping over P2.
Indeed they are. This is an opportunity for Rejects to retake the lead here versus Team War. You got War coming in through Brown and through Bricks, sorry. This is going to be important to hold on to, but you've got 2 players up top that maybe now be facing a flank behind. Nobody's checking it. Journey in from behind. He's able to pull off 1. Lucky and Yakko collapse at the same time, and Team War are now in for this time. And now if you're Rejects, you kind of face this conversation where it's like, right, we've got 1 more push left in us, and if this doesn't work out, we need to focus on the rotation towards New. Rejects win the first gunfight though. Streaks now coming in for Rejects, an opportunity to break in for the time. It needs to work if you've utilized the streak, and it doesn't, as Metals picks up 2 Yakko with another one of his own, and Team War will hold on for scrap time. But honestly, Rejects there not losing all that much. That is 15 seconds of time. They'll be happy with map control.
They will. It's a bit of a disaster in 2 ways. They do invest that streak, which is, in my opinion, a complete waste. Could be used better. And also, they had it completely locked down, and then someone's not watching something. They've got other angles mixed up. They're not, you know, didn't pass the maths exam maybe. But Journey is a fantastic player who, if you give him the opportunity to flank you, is going to just root straight round you. Gets it done, breaks down the setup, and the good thing here for Rejects is that they've managed to get themselves in for 3, but again, they've got to clear out this backside very quickly, because otherwise they're just not going to get set up at the front, and Brody, it's looking like deja vu.
Lucky has just been a menace in the backline. I mean, Disable finally deals with him, right? But that's a problem that you want to deal with a little bit quicker if you're Rejects. Luckily for them, it's going to be Saiyan who takes a foothold on the hard point for the moment. Journey is still there, causing all sorts of issues. Connor will finally deal with him, and Rejects will be able to get this last few scraps of time. And this is just such a back and forth game at the moment between these 2 teams, Andy. Rejects and War fighting tooth and nail for control in this one. But the rotation now coming in towards the next hard point. Already got Saiyan over there. Hawkeye fighting control of dark, power position, of course, looking over the platform area. But it's now going to be all on him, effectively. The rest of his teammates are down. Hawkeye needs to come out with some heroics, and he frankly quite can't. And now you've got this position where Rejects spawning out over towards generators and will have map control.
Well, Hawkeye's got an interesting spawn, though, down by P1, P2 side, and I think that comes from Yakko just being a bit too aggressive here. They need to back up. The spawns have indeed flipped, and this has turned things into an interesting scenario where Rejects have an opportunity to keep themselves in this. Hawkeye's going to get a little bit of a cleanup going on. Some great shots there, but he's got to stay up. He does. Great stuff. War still in the hill, though. They're going to soak up this little bit of scrap time. And we're into that final 20, Brody. We've got to start thinking about 5. Teams have got to start prioritizing there. And right now, no one is actually anywhere near controlling it.
It's crazy in this game. Rejects and Team War, either one of them could take it at this point. It's still such a close game. It will just come down to those decision-making moments at the end of this game. Maybe this could be one of them. Yakko, he's able to pick up 1. Unfortunately, he is the only player close by that can do anything, even more so now that Connor has taken down the shining hope in Metals over towards green. Connor still trying to stay alive from map control. Maybe getting a little bit overzealous there. We'll actually end up giving up said map control for a kill, and that's just a huge wave of kills coming in here for Team War. They effectively eliminate Rejects, and now you've got Rejects just coming back from this spawn.
You have, and again, not much of the power positions in their favor right now. They do have bricks control. They might be able to get in through top green here, but Saiyan again will get cut down, and you feel like it's a huge gunfight over there. But right now, the zone, this is one of those zones that can stay open for a very long time. And honestly, we've only got 136 left on the timer. It's not very often you see that come into any sort of consideration on Garrison, but a lot of these hills are being left open for extended periods of time. Both teams scrapping very, very heavily, and I must say the ARs here are thoroughly enjoying themselves. Disable 25 and 20, Lucky 27 and 18. This is truly a war of attrition on this one.
Indeed it is. Who is going to break first? That's the question. This is a hard point where either of our teams could end up taking it. Now it's actually just going to be War that can take it. If it's a flawless hold here on platform, something we haven't had effectively all game, Rejects kind of want to spoil the party, and Sable might just be the party pooper as he comes in, picks up the first kill. Now players spawning out over towards Tools, over towards Caution, and Disable in the power position will continue to pick up those kills. And while that's going on, Rejects here, Andy, are soaking up the time.
They are. War, though, going to bully themselves back in. Yakko with a lovely route up through top green. But Satan he might have opportunities. He gets the first, shoots beams down the second. Disgusting shots out of him. Absolutely lovely. And they are in for two. And Brody, both teams can win it on this next hill. This is going to turn into the absolute scrap that we love. War are going to try and hit this out through backlights, through back tank, and wrap round the hill. You can see them trying to set up that pinch already.
Saints two-piece there may just prove massive, of course, getting control of green, while now Team War have to shuttle in from behind through bricks. How ready are Rejects for this push? Metals and Journey fly on out, and it's going to be Lucky coming through the front. He's able to pick up the kill, and now Team War, they're in for this time. Rejects have to make their way in within 10 seconds, and you can't even afford to pre-aim at this point. You just have to go, and can Lucky let you go? That's the question. He's able to cut two, comes down to a 1v1 between Disable and Journey wins the gunfight. Team War, they get it done in the closing moments of the hard point. And Rejects, they almost made that happen. I'll tell you what, Say made a heroic two-piece inside green that may have just turned the tables in the game, but it is going to be that last surge from Team War that really makes the difference.
It is. You saw a bit of experience come through there. They set up that pinch. They got themselves ready for it. Do we have courtyard control? Okay, get yourself ready on bridge. I'm going to fly through top green as you guys fly through brick, and we're just going to overwhelm them from multiple angles. They know that they probably have one shot at that. Any follow-up waves are going to be very, very scrappy and filtered through. They execute it absolutely spot on, and it all comes down to that in the end. A super close game. Rejects put up a very good fight, but I mean, Lucky, I think, finished on like 33 and 20 or something like that. Thoroughly enjoyed himself, and a massive contributing factor in the win.
Crazy, just crazy. What a great start to this 5-map thriller, potentially 5-map thriller. We never really know, do we, with these sort of things. But yeah, great start for Team War. They'll be more than happy with that one, although that was a very scrappy experience, I think, overall for these two teams. They were definitely fighting back and forth. I don't think it was ever a point in that hardpoint map, and I know it's Garrison, so it's not all that surprising to see. I don't think there was ever a hardpoint there where one team had full control over the entirety of the hill.
No, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. It was very, very scrappy. You're right. I don't feel like Rejects were ever more in the ascendancy. War always felt like they were slightly ahead, but Rejects were always within touching distance, and it does come down to one or two individual moments of play, and I think that right there at the end was the difference maker. If that doesn't happen, we're maybe sat here talking about Rejects and how they've put up a great performance. And overall, I do think that they've done a good job. We've got to remember this War side is very good, despite not being at perhaps their previous strengths. But it's definitely a great fight, nice and early between these two sides. The one thing for me is that a couple of their players on Reject started a little bit slowly. And I think that we spoke about it beforehand, right? You can't come into these series not hot off the gas because you will get punished for it.
Yeah, for sure. And these series are very important as well. Yes, this is only the round robin stage of the groups, but I mean, even Team War will tell you that you can very slip out of favor in challenges. It's very easy to do. Well, let's take a look at the map set for the first time in this series, if we do have it available for you guys. All right, we don't have a map set. We don't have it. I apologize to everybody at home. I would normally throw to a map set at this point. We can tell you that the next map is Moscow Search and Destroy, so that's good. We're going to Mother Russia for map number 2 in this series. What do you think of that, Andy? We're going to take some flights to Moscow.
We are. I don't have anything down in terms of actual map records or anything like that for these two sides. Challenges changes way too much for me to try and keep up on that. But I think that one thing for certain here, this is such a first blood heavy map. This is definitely a map where, especially if you're looking to be a side that's aggressive on the attack, you need to have a plan that you execute. You can't hesitate. If you're one of those sides that likes to stand it around a little bit, you risk getting caught because there's so many different plays that can be made on this map. So that's what I want to see. I want to see Rejects pick themselves back up, or Team War assert themselves very much on the map. I don't want to see sides being super hesitant. Uh, and as I said, those first bloods are all important. So you got to play for those. But we know how difficult those can be sometimes, especially on offense, on this map.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just to give you guys an update as well, this is not the only match that is going on right now. Of course, we've got 3 matches going on concurrently. We have one match going on over on the alpha stream, or just the main stream, effectively the official stream at youtube.com/COD challenges. That is going to be Media Strays versus Elevate. Now, I'm not entirely sure how that's going, but you guys can go check that out if you want an update on those 2 teams. Not only that as well, but we have our secondary match going on right now, which is going to be a Belgium squad versus Mavericks. Now, we can't show you gameplay on what's going on right now, I believe, because they're in the search and destroy, and we can't show search and destroys for this team, I don't believe. Oh, we can. I think we can, actually. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to check that. But yeah, so search and destroys for this team, I don't believe we can actually show it, just to confirm. However, I can give you guys an update on what happened in map number 1, which is that Mavericks Gaming Club actually now in the lead in this series, Andy. They're now 1-0 up over Belgium squad.
Interesting. I think that the one thing with this Maverick side, and we did it last time out, and I still have the same feeling. I'm kind of like, they'll be okay, maybe pick up a couple of results, but I'm not expecting them to do anything massive. And then they come out and surprise everyone, and it's very possible that they could do it again here. Belgian Power, we saw them in the qualifiers. They looked hot and cold. They're super momentum based for me, and I think that if they warm up into that series, then they'll be a really big threat. I highly doubt it, but do we know the scoreline difference by any chance?
The search and destroy? We can
No,
ask.
sorry, in the hard point.
Oh, we do. It's 250 to 170. So that was the victory of which Mavericks took it.
Okay, so quite a bit of a gap then. So for me, yeah, it's about whether or not Belgian Power can warm up into the series, because when we casted over them, it was very much a case of they're either great or they're just not really hitting it. And Mavericks, again, we underestimated them in the past, and they're a super solid side that could very much so be in that top 4 again come the end of this.
Yeah, and I think it's crazy, actually, while we've got the moment to just talk about Mavericks, because they're a roster that, in a way are entirely connected to Team War. And it's not just because they're yet another Spanish squad in Challengers Elite. It's because, they had that roster change that was effectively forced upon them, where Yakko was brought over to Team War following Nvidian's move to a coaching role, which unfortunately he's no longer in said role. He's back to playing in Challengers. But, as a result of that, Yakko had to leave Mavericks. Of course, you can't play on 2 teams at once unless you're a Superman. And War, they replaced him with Vickle, a longtime friend and teammate of Eric Boom. So it's kind of like, in a way, it benefited Mavericks, even though they lost what I would describe as their second best player, I want to say, in Yakko. They're still actually just as good, if not a better roster, off the back of that chemistry that was already pre-established with Vickle, of course, playing with Eric Boom and the rest of the squad as well. I think it's fair to say he does actually have his history with the rest of that team, but most notably so that duo of Eric Boom and Vickle that's been around since Black Ops 4 days. It's just it's a hard thing to play against, and Mavericks, they are a very scary squad. So we'll keep you guys updated with what's going on with that Mavericks and Belgium squad up game. Unfortunately, as we said, we can no longer show the search and destroy for that particular matchup because a team has requested that we do not do so. Hopefully that changes and teams change their mind in regard of the search and destroys, but that just is the way it be sometimes. So refocusing then to this search and destroy between Rejects and Team War. Andy, something we kind of always note with teams such as Rejects, right, is that they do kind of have maybe an inherent advantage against teams like Team War, where maybe the coaching staff, the analyst staff of Team War, for regular teams such as August and Elevate, they'll have that kind of playbook of what's going to go on for those teams in search and destroy. For Rejects, you don't have that.
No, yeah, and it's a really good thing to bring up, actually. You are right. A lot of these teams are, I was going to say a complete enigma, but that's, yeah, they're a mystery, shall we say. Open up my thesaurus there. But yeah, you don't know what they're going to bring. You have no idea what they're going to bring to the table. Maybe these teams watch the qualifiers to see what could come up, but that's a lot of size that you've got to pay attention to, a lot of different maps. You might not get to see everything on stream, for example. So yeah, there's definitely a lot there that you don't have to break down. Whilst if you are Rejects, and you are worth your salt. You're trying to prove that you belong at this top level. You have studied a lot of Team War S&D. I understand why teams maybe don't want to show their stuff on stream, because this is the opportunity that you can hand another team. And are we going to
Yep.
see some hard counters of strategies or not? I'd hope so, because you've had time to assess your opponent, and you really should be if you want to prove that you are an elite player.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, with the way some of these teams act about Search and Destroy, I expect some NFL-level strategies coming out of the playbook for Search
Yeah.
and Destroy going forward. Oh, I want to see some crazy stuff. Rejects aren't covering the Search and Destroy. Oh, they're going to regret it with all the deep strategy they've got in the playbook at the moment. But I guess we'll see going forward. For Team War, however, Search and Destroy is something that they're a little bit more comfortable showing maybe on stream. And they're not terrible at it as well, right? Team War, they weren't bad at Search and Destroy. I think, one of the big things that does help with Team War, even though they made a roster change, the core three has stayed the same throughout the season, right?
It has, and they should really understand each other. They should have a great level of communication and chemistry that you're perhaps not going to see on Rejects. That being said, we are into the game, Brody, and we are going to end up with that's a very interesting defensive line from War, completely giving up A. And actually, I don't know if they've intended to do that, because Lucky has just peeled straight off.
Lucky, doing what he wants to do, hey? Always is the way with that man. Team War now going to regroup and make their way over towards the site. We can't actually see the minimap anymore. I'm not entirely sure if that's intentional or not. We don't need to cover the minimap for these guys. They asked. Okay, never mind. We do need to cover the minimap for these guys, which means we can't see the minimap on the casting desk, which is just fine and dandy. That's going to hinder us, but it's okay, Andy. We're good at our jobs. Anyway, looking at seeing what Rejects want to do here on the offense. Seems to be an A push, at least initially. Metals and Journey are over here ready for this.
They are. I'd tell you how ready, but we can't see any arrows on the screen. So First Blood's going to come in for a Hawkeye. Gets the nade onto Metals, and that's something that you need to capture on right now. We're into 25 seconds. You've got to move that bomb down, because otherwise this is what happens where teams try and capitalize on that situation, because you're not effectively in a post plant, but they're going to clean it up anyway. Rejects will go one up, and I feel a lot of my role in this partnership that we have, Brody, this blossoming partnership, by the way, is analysis, but it's going to be quite difficult to tell you exactly how things go down. But I can tell you what happened there. Connor beams two people, including Yakko, who won't be wanting to see that back.
Yeah, I mean, is it really surprised to see Connor beaming with the AR? I was gassing him up a little bit before we got into the broadcast, saying that, hey, look, I'm kind of surprised that Connor hasn't seen all that much success this season past stage 1, because he is a hell of an AR player. And he's proving it here in round number 1 is Connor. Now, though, looking at Team War, see what they're able to do. Lucky and Yakko with the bomb. Looking to push themselves through goal towards B. I think, as far as I'm aware, it is literally just saying over there at the moment, protecting it.
There's Metals here, just playing for information. This little jump up. Obviously, we don't have snipers in Search and Destroy, so that's just free information that Metals is going to be carrying over. Effectively lock down this left side of the map, and I assume the rest of War are looking to utilize it. Journey will indeed come up Eskies, so bomb perhaps shifting towards A, but no first blood yet, and we're getting near to that final 30 seconds, bro. This could get messy very quickly.
Indeed, it could. Team War, they should be prepared for this. Metals will definitely, now with that slide, have seen this push over towards A. And look at this from War. This is so smart. This is so smart from them. The call has already made. Hey, look, Lucky Yakko, you're good to get this bomb down at B. That's exactly what they're going to do. And now it's all about this rotation, really. How quickly does the cavalry come in from that A site, both for Rejects and Team War? Well, the answer here, Andy, pretty bloody quickly. Rejects, they've got their way over. And now it is just about getting these opening gunfights. Metals is primed to take Saiyan out. He's not going to check this corner. And he doesn't. The shots don't go through. Saiyan survives the gunfight. Lucky is there, though, to pick up his food that he dropped there off the plate. And now Team War in a 2 versus 2. All you're going to do is defend this bomb site for 7.5 more seconds. It's a lot to ask, I know. I make it sound so simple, but they should get it done. There you go. Connor's now going to jump straight onto the fuse. Journey will check it, and it doesn't even matter, really, if Journey gets away with his life or not. That's a round for Team War.
I tell you what, some teams do want us to cover all those S&D strats, and whatever War have been cooking up there, that was fantastic. I really, really loved the way that they played that. Just baited for so long over on that far side. Must have made as little noise as possible towards the B bomb and just screaming, hey guys, we're at A, come over here and challenge us. And I think the one thing for Rejects here is I'm surprised they have such mid control. They seem to take them so long, even post plant, to get into mid and apply any sort of pressure, and that just allowed War to get into a really nice post plant position. So great stuff out of them. Really good executed strategy. No idea if I've seen that one before out of them. That seemed like a bit of a party piece.
Well, those are the strategies that they want to cover up, search and destroy. Nobody give them any ideas. Nobody say anything. No one. We didn't see the play. It wasn't a great strategy. It was a terrible strategy. Anyway, back to this game. Team War on the defense. This seems to be another one of those strategies. They sent 3 players over towards A. Yakko all on his lonesome over towards B in the mid-map, and that's actually a great place to be. I'll tell you why, Andy. He picks up that first blood against Saiyan. Nade goes out for the second one. Hawkeye is going to win that fight. Yakko doesn't even get to put a bullet in. The problem here for Rejects, they got to get that bomb.
You do. It'll make a lot of noise, but the players are quite far away. Journey's actually going to team kill Metals here, so they did clean up Connor, but we're still at a 2v2 situation. I just wonder if they've read this, because Hawkeye's doubled back. Oh, this could be great.
They know. They don't know here, Andy. Hawkeye and Disable should be able to get this bomb down completely worry free. I mean, that's if they get this down in time, right? Because the longer you spend thinking about it, the longer you're going to give Journey and Lucky. Okay, they're about to rotate right into Journey and Lucky. Now they've seen him, so it doesn't matter what's going to happen here. Hawkeye needs to get this bomb down, get away. We can't see what's happening behind him because we don't have any mini-map. But Disable will be there for the cover. This bomb will go down.
Well, nearly a bit too aggressive there from Hawkeye. Gets away with it. Journey here on the line, gets the first, knows where Disable is, but he's going to dip out with his life, and he's going to be screaming at Lucky, get yourself over here, give me some support. 30 seconds left to work with.
Does he see him? Yes, he does. The shots go in. Disable, is he going to be able to get away? No, he doesn't. He tries to dip and dodge, but Lucky has his number. And the twosome there from Team War, Lucky and Journey, will be able to win that round. I mean, for a Team War there, they almost had an easier time than maybe Rejects would have liked.
They did. I think Hawkeye gets a bit too gung-ho there, perhaps getting a nosebleed, running the bomb that far up. Could have done a much quicker job of just getting it down. But as well, one of the things is Journey must be such a nightmare to play against, because he always seems to pick the angle that isn't covered. He manages to sneak all the way up and through and in behind, get that opening kill that makes it the 2v1 scenario to benefit them. So great stuff out of War so far. They've picked up an attack round, they've picked up a defense round, and now let's see if we get another interesting strategy here, Brody, like the last time out.
We'll see what War have cooked up in the Spanish kitchen. Certainly seems like B is the object of their desires for the moment. Rejects got this kind of standard setup going on at the moment. 2 players at B, 2 players sent a little bit reserved towards A. Kind of curious here what War do in terms of getting this bomb down.
That's gonna ring out and connect with nothing. Metals will get the first blood though over towards A, so that's gonna open up that site. Hawkeye would be hard pressed to win that gunfight. Metals will indeed clean it up. So 4v2 scenario. The grenade will bring things back in a little bit. But this is a problem now. Saiyan on that flank, though, looking to get SDs.
Saiyan needed to survive there. He isn't able to, quite frankly, and now this is a 1 versus 3. The problem here, realistically, is that they know where Disable is. They have this knowledge as to where Disable's coming from, so it's just about making sure you don't give up any unnecessary angles. Disable's able to put a few more shots in than maybe War would like, but now he is surely boxed in here to lobby, and yes, he is. War used their numbers to overwhelm, and now open up the advantage further.
Yeah, this is one of those scenarios where Disable, he has no chance, right? Like, against this level of quality opposition, you've got to hope that they make series of mistakes back to back to back, and it's not going to happen against a side as good as this. They've got to be opening up better. I've spoken about the first blood several times before we hopped into this map, and at the minute, they're all going War's way. Rejects doing very little to impose themselves on the map early on in rounds, and they need to stop War just executing things the way that they want to. I know that's easier said than done on this side of the desk, Brody, but all the same, Rejects got to prove why they're an elite level team at this point. Close games mean nothing if you go on to lose them.
Team War. See what they're able to do now. On the defense, they don't seem to have that much of a presence over towards A. Reject should be able to get this bomb down if they want to. And hey, Andy, that's never an opportunity that you want to pass up.
It is not, Brody. And this is going down relatively uncontested. But look at this flank. There's 3 of them here.
Okay, Hawkeye just annihilates Journey. That's a massive kill to take as well, because now you've got the knowledge that, hey, Aura coming on the flank here. They're trying it. Stop go out, Saiyan should be able to cause some damage here. How much damage can he cause? Only 1 kill. Yakko will have to back away, and that's time you don't want to give away. This now has to be heroic play from Metals. He gets the first kill, plays his life, but time's dwindling down in this round for Metals to pull it off. Yakko needs to pull the pinch off also, and now it is just the latter to do something. Yakko has too many targets to look at, quite frankly. There's no chance for him there as his teammate falls.
Gonna fall indeed. I think that the strategy there for more really interesting. You know, they catch 1 on the flank, but I mean, there's opportunity there where they perhaps read that as, okay, that's the 1 player on the flank and we can clean this up. And I do think that if War rejig that strategy a little bit, maybe make a bit more noise at the front or send 1 less body round, that could work out. That was a really interesting play from them. Doesn't pay off in the end. Rejects read it well and clean up the kills where needed. And Connor, we've spoken so much about him. Brody, you love him. 5 and 2 to start this one, really keeping his team in this.
Team War looking to shut him down. That might just be, I guess, the win condition at the moment. Hawkeye isn't in that bad a position either, right? 5 and 4. Team War. See where they want to take this bomb. It's always just such a hard thing to cross the map, to make your way over towards B safely, but that kill is certainly going to help.
Where's the first blood for Saiyan here? Oh, okay. What happened there? Yeah, he goes down in the blink of an eye. Connor's going to have to do a lot of work here. 2v4 scenario. Probably going to be wise to... Okay, I thought he was just going to back up and get the hell out of dodge. Doesn't happen. Hawkeye in a 1v4. And look, man, you're a good player, but surely you're throwing yourself off your map at this point.
Can you throw yourself on the map? I think there might be like 1 place you can do it here on this map, but actually, just surprisingly, despite the fact that there's an outer, it's very hard to do. Hawkeye is dead to rights anyway. there's no universe in which you're winning that. A 1 versus 4 on that bomb site is effectively impossible.
Yeah, I'm all for it. We're going to get to see this opening kill, actually, which is awesome. Yakko. Excuse me? Someone else must have shot him at some point. But what about this one as well?
It's just Jacko's bullet reg. It's insane. Look at him.
Hip fires 4 bullets in a row. Goodness me. That's the... If I'm on the opposite end of that, I'm tilted, Brody. I'm absolutely... I'm spitting at my monitor. That's not nice at all. Rejects there. Falling 2 rounds down again, but an opportunity to answer back with their own attack plans. But again, they've got to get some first bloods. They've got to open up better, and we don't have the arrows to see. But it looks like War are going to really try and defend that A site. Rejects a bit more spread out.
Metal's going to pick up that first play against Disable. That will surely help. Saiyan, though, able to pick up 1. Looking for the second. Unfortunately, dips away before he can finish the gunfight. And now it's all a matter of survival for Saiyan. He is in a bit of a spot of bother at the moment. Actually going to get the first goal. Surely not going to get away again. He does, and now he has the help of Hawkeye as well. This situation, off the back of Saiyan surviving, has very quickly turned into a favorable one for Rejects. Lucky in a 1 versus 3. He's going to get the first kill. This is possible. Oh, he doesn't get away. Okay, if he gets away there, which he almost does, to be fair, that is a very imaginable situation to happen.
Minnesota Rock against Optic. Long bells all over my screen there, bro. I'm telling you, man, I could see it. But yeah, no, Saiyan does great. Saiyan does absolutely fantastic. I don't think he was fantastic in the hard point, but there he really steps up for his side and manages to make it happen. Plays his life well enough as well. Gets it done. So back within 1. They're keeping it within touching distance. But this stinks of that hard point again. They're within touching distance, but they're never in the lead. They're never in a position to assert their game plan. And Mel's going to be moving for this free information today. But look at those defensive blues, Brody. Look at them all swarm it.
Well, the Rejects have gone for that kind of classic strategy of overwhelming the A-bomb site, at least initially. They've decided for the moment that it's not worth piling into. Now it's going to be about mid-control. Disable going to get away with his life for the moment. Trophy system going to stop any utility coming his way. But Hawkeye picks up 2. And Rejects very quickly turning this round into an unfavorable one for Yakko and Journey, who find themselves now in a 2 versus 4. They do have control of the bomb at least, but I mean, you've got to kind of have a path to get that bomb down.
They do, and I don't think Yakko's going to be expecting Hawkeye here. No, he won't. He gets cleaned up, and all unlucky 1v4. And he isn't even going to win the first. Gets beamed. Rejects back into it. 4-all. We're getting towards match point here, bro. We're getting closer and closer, and both teams just trading punches, trading blows at this point. Look at this. Fantastic stuff from Hawkeye. Open up that map. I mean, look, I can talk about first bloods all I want. If you're going to open up with 2, you're doing so much work for your side. 10 and 5 as well on a 5 streak. I feel like he's gone under the radar a little bit. He's having a fantastic game. Goodness me.
Indeed, he is, Hawkeye. I mean, he's been a player what this season that has been, I guess, an installment of that Originals roster, previously Elite 2 in Stage 4, and then, of course, as I said, in Stage 2. So he's not exactly been a terrible player. He's certainly found his place in challenges, 6th place in both of those stages, hoping that maybe Rejects is the roster where he can break that 6th place curse. Maybe it will be. They can start to put this search and destroy together, but they're going to have to get past Lucky, and that's going to be a kill and a half for Saiyan. He will get traded out, and now Hawkeye finds himself in a dreadful position. Somehow manages to slide away. Unfortunately, gets stuck on a glass panel. And the action has dissipated down here a little bit. Rejects found themselves in a spot of bother early on.
How on earth? Oh, what is going on, Brody? What is going on? Someone clean up your kills. Finish them. Just kill somebody. Thank you. Hawkeye in a 1v2. They're going to know where he is. So he's got a lot of work to do here. I think that's Yakko heading up towards like back ticket or PD area. Hawkeye has the bomb now. Can try and get it down at A, but he's going to need some blessed timing. I think War are happy to actually just leave him to plant and move on him from there, but he's going to need to find a great position here to stay alive in, because this is so many angles to cover for one man.
I was kind of wondering about the first competition here. What does he do? He gets that first kill against Journey. Has he actually seen Yakko? Because Yakko is entering out the back towards the alleyway. Hawkeye checks this. He goes for it. Yakko with a pre-aim, though. Knows exactly where Hawkeye's coming from. That is a play call and a half to know that Hawkeye will go straight to check that bomb. And Yakko ends up winning the 1 versus 1. But Hawkeye almost makes that 1v3 happen.
Very nearly. Absolutely fantastic plays from him. He's so unfortunate here. I think we're actually going to get to watch this original set of shots out, but he just loses that mental game afterwards, right? Yakko does the right thing, just disappears. If a player disappears, you are so stuck between a rock and a hard place, because you've got to check the bomb, you've got to push forward. Yakko knows that and cleans him up there as well. So he's doing a lot of work right now, is Hawkeye, but he needs the rest of his boys to chip in a little bit more. I mean, Connor's doing fine. It's the ARs. They're having a great time right now, but 1 round away a Team War. Getting all the dirty bits done as usual, as we expect from this side.
Team War looking for a 2-0 series advantage. This is the map where they could find it here. This is the round where they could find it, I should say. Once again, aiming for a B push to kick off this round. Disable is in the mid-map. I don't know if Yakko's going to get lucky and see him. I think just going to walk away, maybe at the wrong time. Disable is dipping in and out of this mid-statue. Knows that maybe someone's coming and will end up picking Journey on the final kill. Yakko will enter into that area sooner rather than later. And if they can pick up this kill, this trade, it would be huge. Yakko needs to get away. The trophy system helps the utility thrown his way. Disable knows he can't finish that gunfight light for light, so we'll have to walk away for the moment. And Yakko's actually going to push for this.
Trap though should get cleaned up, but Lucky might actually open things for it here. Does a fantastic job, supports his teammate at just the right moment, puts it into a 1v1 scenario. 25 seconds left on the clock. Lucky has bomb, but oh, is he just gonna rotate it round for A? What's... Oh, Brody.
No. Saiyan? Is Saiyan looking? We can't see. We have no idea, because we can't see the minimap, guys, so we don't know if Saiyan... No. Saiyan just pushed that at the wrong time. Oh my goodness, Rejects. They force a round 11. But look at that timing. Lucky looks away at the millisecond Saiyan pushes the corner. That's COD timing. That is just COD timing. If you look up COD timing in the Call of Duty dictionary, it's going to be that clip right there. That one right there, folks.
Yeah, there's going to be people new to this esport who don't know what half of our sayings mean. You can just copy and paste that for when, put it as your command in chat when someone asks what COD timing is, and just bring it up. Very unfortunate for Lucky, who made a monumental play at one point. I think we're about to get a big hit here at A. Everyone's flying at it right now.
Double blinds away, we've avoided it all game, baby, and now we're here in round 11, and Hawkeye to explode, picks up 2, Journey looking to answer back, but Hawkeye with 3, give him 4, Hawkeye with the ace to close out this game, and Rejects, 2 rounds straight towards the end, they bring it back, they're able to get it done, 1-1 in the series, and it's all down to this man, Hawkeye, flying high.
Absolutely. Producer was right. Keep those stats off the screen. We don't want to see that. We want to see the ace in round 11. Hawkeye, upload that one onto Twitter for me. I want to see it. What a fantastic play to see out the game. I think he was already like 12-6, 12-7. He'd had a fantastic game all the way through. And then ace at the end. I mean, look, if he was going to have a moment where he's saying, I belong here, this is my level of play. My season's maybe been a bit up and down. As you said, he's finished in 6th a couple of times and hasn't been bad at all. But he's saying, look, my side are going to struggle. I'm going to put them on the back. And it goes absolutely huge. What a fantastic play. I wish that you guys could have seen our reactions behind, because we were all hands on head. Brody's halfway out of his seat. Wonderful stuff. Lovely stuff.
Man, Hawkeye just sent me flying. It's crazy. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy, man. Hawkeye, what an end to that game. Hawkeye, if you're watching this back, if there's a clip on Twitter, you're the man. You're the man. That's all I'm saying. But crazy. Just a crazy ending to the Search and Destroy. Rejects able to tie our series up at 1-1. Now, I'm going to ask Producer. Producer will tell me in just a second. Do we have a map set? I'm not entirely sure if we have a map set just yet. We might not have a map set. Do we... Okay, we know the next map is Checkmate Control. I don't know how we know that, but we don't know the rest of the maps. I'm going to sort that out for you guys. Don't you worry. While I sort that out very briefly, because this is what I do when I'm not looking at Andy's beautiful face. You know, Andy, talk to me about that game. Talk to me about Rejects in that round 11.
Well, I mean, it goes in for the double blind hit, right? But actually, Rejects were a man down there. It was a 3v4 scenario, wore through everything at it. And Hawkeye just goes absolutely huge. Without a doubt, the support from the teammates, they get a couple of bullets in. But, I mean, that's just a fantastic individual play. There's no other way of answering it. As soon as he got the first 2, I thought, okay, he's dead to rights, but he's done enough. He's really opened up this defense for his side. And we'll go from here, possibly into a post plant. Doesn't let it happen, though. The read afterwards with the grenade is fantastic. Gives him the opportunity. And from there, I mean... he just cleans it up. We've got to see that back. We've got to see that somewhere. He's surely saved it. I mean, this is going to be one of those where it's like round 11 ice, a little bit of an emoji on Twitter, because those are those moments. There's a competitor you play for, and he's pulled it off right there.
Yeah, cool. I believe we have the maps ready to go in just a second. So we do have it. All right, look at this. I'm working my magic, or actually it's Ryan, our producer, who just worked the magic there. He actually just got... into Checkmate Control here. We're 1-1 in the series, Andy, and Rejects have already pulled off one upset in the Search and Destroy. Can they do it here again on the Control?
Can they indeed? And clearly Hawkeye isn't done yet. He's on to 3. He's on to 4, Brody. Feeling himself, the young man. Absolutely trying. Connor getting the cleanup kills in the back, doing a great job of just covering over that left-hand side. You can see A is the target. What they need to do is make sure they're not going to get flanked. I do believe that we should have the minimap open up in front of us at some point to I'm trying to guess where people are right now. You can see there's plenty of people fighting over mid plane, right? And that's an important part of the map. It allows you to very much so, as an attacker or defender, dictate the play. It's where I equal mid on raid control as well. It's one of those places that allows you to flip-flap and adjust your strategy on the fly. And you can see the scrap that's going on for it, but it's going to be Team War who come out and top in that battle.
It is indeed. Now 15 seconds remaining for Rejects to do something. Disable. Able to pick up one kill to try and escape. Yakko in a power position. He actually almost there effectively clears out the round for Team War. Will not be able to do it. Insane picking up that two. Should actually open up proceedings here. There's no way that Hawkey gets another game-defining two-piece. Unfortunately, it's not to be. I think somebody's going to touch this point to leave it 2/10 of a second. Still on the clock here. Rejects are staying alive.
Yeah, but you literally can't step off it because that is what will happen. And War knew that, slid in, more than happy to commit bodies. The life count was about the same anyway. And I tell you what, buddy, if that had gone to the attacking side, if Rejects had managed to take that, both sides were down, already getting near to double digits for life counts. That would have been a heck of a scrap for that final zone. So it's sad not to see it. But Hawkey, the man who we've been talking about so much since he went huge in that round 11, 7-4 to start off with, gone huge, and just needs his team to step up with him. But it's so hard to get attack rounds on this, and you need a great start, and War are going to fly the plane.
They will want to get this one going pretty quickly. And that's a nice kill coming in from Saiyan. Could potentially hold off these guys. There's two. Lucky going for this gunfire. If Saiyan smokes him, I'm done, man. Saiyan, okay, we won't do it. Lucky's not going to go for that re-challenge just yet.
He won't on the far side. We saw Disable get absolutely obliterated, so no real ground gained or lost by Eversab. There's some brilliant shots out of Lucky. Connor answers back with some of his own, and the thing is for War right now, they're a little bit stuck. That kill there will open things up a little bit, and that's nice out of Metal. So this is going to allow them an opportunity here. Can they take it? Rejects looking to stack the plane by the seams and try and get themselves some presence in that middle of the map, but no, the kills are mostly going War's way, and Metal's here. So huge.
Idiots. Team War looking to capture this A zone, saying trying to stop it. He was really the last line of defense for Rejects, at least on this stop. Connor could potentially still do something. He's able to pick up one kill. He doesn't know that Journey's behind, though. Journey wins that gunfight, and now trouble in Checkmate Town. Team War in control of the plane. They're in control of the point. Journey in a power position that you need to get him out of, and Team War now starting to capture this point.
Overzealous from Rejects, really on the defense of that A zone. They commit bodies too late. They get killed trying to defend it, and then you're in a situation where you're cut off. You're trying to get back in from spawn, and War is going to know where you're coming from at all times. But now Rejects are going to keep this round going, keep them off the point. But there's a minute and 28. We're about to hit 2 zones, Brody. This is looking good for War, and what a kick in the teeth this would be for Rejects. Such a hard place to win attack rounds, and War have every opportunity to see one off right here.
Well, let's not count our Spanish eggs before they're hatched here, or chickens before they're hatched from Spanish eggs, as Team War will not get the point just yet. There's still 1 minute 10 seconds in this game. Team War do have the life advantage. That could all change. Just one wave of kills coming in from Rejects. They've already got 1 tick of progression. This should be easy enough to do if they just get 1 wave of kills in, then stack the point. We know that War are pretty good at it. Can they get it done? Yakko's able to pick up 1. He will actually stay alive here also, despite being hella weak on the point. Will walk away. And now it's just about maintaining control of the map. You have time to work with to make this happen.
Love this play from Yakko. He should clean that up. He does. The life count looks really good for War right now, but the only thing they've got to concern themselves with is time. It's of the essence. They're getting towards the final 30 seconds, and Yakko still going. Oh, Yakko very, very nearly cleans up another one. And this comes down to effectively 1, possibly 2 good pushes from War, but they're going to have to hit it right now and stop the clock.
Here they are. Well, there's the first kill coming in from Lucky. Yakko is immediately traded out, though, so now 3 for 3 on the point. Yorkie able to pick up 1. Lucky is there to pick up the slack, and now he's there with Metal. What's the see what they're able to do. Lucky with 2, and now it's just 1 player left alive. It's all on Disable. He will end up falling, and Team War will take the round. They had a few opportunities to do it, and they're able to get it done in the end.
Yeah, and this is perhaps the most one-sided we've seen these series so far. They extend a 2-0 lead. The reason why I feel like it's important is just because of how bloody hard it is to get an attack round in on Control checkmate. And they've seen it through, and they were ahead in the life count. They haven't stolen one away at the end. They looked really good for it. They're just getting control over that mid area far too often, locking down all the lanes and not allowing rejects to move around freely. Disable and Connor in particular really not having the best time right now, and Hawkeye and Sane have been slowed to a bit of a walk. On War, Lucky and Metal's really enjoying themselves, and again, it's going to be a fight for that paper plane as all the bullets ring out.
He wants control early on, needs to survive in this one if they want to end up winning the control. This has been a hell of a start for Team War. We'll see if they're able to do well on the defense here. It doesn't take much for a defense to spiral out of control. Disable will open up proceedings pretty well with that kill over towards A. And as a matter of fact here, in terms of map control, Reject's doing quite well.
We're just for a second there. Team War, I'm not sure what their plan was, but they got very aggressive up through the A lane, and they've sent nothing towards B, so all I can think is they've posted some ARs somewhere. Hawkeye might be about to find them. Plenty of damage in, no one's dead, everyone's still alive. They actually will get Metals. He's somehow still alive. How is he still alive? War, clean up your kills. They're going to get onto A. The first stick's definitely going to come through, and look at them stack it now. The thing is, Brody, they don't have any control out mid-map or into the lane, so this is going to allow one opportunity to swarm.
They do now, so Yakko is actually going to get that kill. I don't think Team War wanted to commit to that. I'm not entirely sure, actually, why Journey even bothered pushing for it. He's not exactly a hero. He went for it, and it was a bit of a mistake, so he will need to recover here after that small tumble. Rejects have map control, though, and I think that's the key thing. Look at Rejects, where they are on the map right now. They could cause some serious issues. Journey's going to have a wave of Rejects players coming his way, but Journey, he's pretty good with the AK-74U. He's able to pick up 1 kill just there, almost turns him for the second. Lucky is in for support, though, and Team War, they kind of find themselves in this really awkward position where they've got a player pushed all the way through, but it's just not effective.
It isn't. Yeah, you're right. Hawkeye, he's not going to do anything with it. He had an opportunity there to be the big playmaker. Instead, it's going to be Yakko on the other side, and this is causing so many issues towards the Rejects attack plans. They do still have 1:09, so plenty of time to try and push forward, but they need to establish something quick. And every time we seem to look at them, there's someone slipping through the net. They will eventually pull it apart, but they've got to find a way through more consistently, because right now War have not been pressured towards B, and their defensive strategy actually is interesting. Hawkeye here, though, again, looking to just try and be a playmaker, and gets the first, Brody. So this could be the moment, but it has to come through soon.
Hawkeye, again, he failed to infiltrate the defense successfully last time around, now has another opportunity to do it, but there's not really a lot of time to make this one work. Rejects effectively have 1 good push left in the tank. Let's see whether or not they can get it going. Disable spots the gun of Lucky. The muzzle is there, and he takes him down off the back of it. Connor also with 1, and Hawkeye in from behind, putting up the pressure. Rejects now have players on the point, but Journey in from behind makes the play. Journey makes the play. He picks up 2, and Rejects, the entire play falls apart off the back of it.
That's just huge from Journey. The first kill's big enough. He's done a great job there of trying to get them off the point. The second kill's just outright disgusting. Hawkeye, though, he's trying to stick around. He's trying to support whoever is on the point with him and doesn't kill anything. So that, for me, Brody, looks like that unless Connor goes absolutely massive. We've spoken about this young man. We love him, and he isn't going to get the kill. That will be the 3-0. That will be that. And Team War go back into the lead in this series. That's by far the biggest gap we've seen so far in the series, and to be honest, each round was close, but again, those final moments that War seeing out and Rejects just weren't.
Yeah, Rejects, they had promise, right? For a couple of moments there, Andy, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more in depth in just a moment, but there were a couple of moments in that game where Rejects, they got players through. I think in round number 3, the one that stands out to me most was Hawkeye. Actually managed to break the defensive line twice. Unfortunately, didn't do anything with it both times, and off the back of that, they're just not able to get it done, right? But there were definitely some moments of promise there from Rejects in the control.
There was, and I think let's go with the round three that you spoke about there. And the thing is, when you do get that player through, especially when you're in the attack rounds, you need your team to be in a position to capitalize on that. And I'm sure that somewhere in the communications there, Hawkey's like, boys, be ready, boys, be ready. We've got to execute this now. And
Yeah.
each time it's just not happening. His teammates are falling on the far side of the map, and they're unable to capitalize on the situation. It's got to be incredibly frustrating. It's a very difficult situation to be in, especially when it happens multiple times as well. You're usually lucky at this level to get one bite at that cherry, and they had two and still didn't capitalize. So, whereas for Team War, instead, they're very happy to just continue to fight over that mid plane, continue to push those attack waves back, and slay out, quite frankly. Gunfights just all very key and very important.
Yeah, indeed. So I believe that our series here is over for us. Now, to just give you guys an update on how this works here with the Challengers stream, we obviously work very closely with Challengers to make sure that we can get some of these games broadcasted on the community broadcast. We will not be casting the conclusion of Rejects versus Team War here on the community broadcast. However, we will be broadcasting it over at youtube.com/COD Challengers. If you prefer American voices, don't worry. This is the greatest news in the world because Spaceman, Alicat, and Fox will be handing themselves over to this matchup. It's going to be a great conclusion. Make sure you guys don't miss it. And for us as well, because of that, we don't actually have anything else to cast in this first slot. All the matches are effectively done. Even Mavericks versus Belgium squad finished 3-0 to Mavericks. How about that? We'll talk about that just for a moment here before we send it to a break, Andy. Mavericks 3-0ing that team. Is it a surprise?
I think it's one of those where beforehand you'd be kind of surprised, but afterwards you can just see it, right? You can kind of see where Mavericks have that extra edge, maybe in terms of just Eric Boom going huge, right? Or maybe it's just because of that extra chemistry that they possess. Because that Belgian power squad is such a mismatch. Another one of those sides that you probably wouldn't have put together on paper that
No.
they
Yeah.
perhaps lack that. And in terms of how the play unfolded. Obviously, we didn't get to see that, so we don't get to point at any obvious mistakes or strengths from these two teams. But yeah, no, not a massive surprise, but all the same, alarm bells ringing for Belgian power because you do need to take some of these games that you're not expected to win.
Indeed, you do. Well, Mavericks going to 3-0 their team. Team War currently 2-1 up against Rejects. Again, if you want to see the conclusion of this particular series, go check out youtube.com/COD Challengers right now so our American friends over there can finish off that matchup. For now, though, we're going to be sending it to a very brief break, or relatively brief break anyway, because we've got ourselves get ourselves set up for the second set of matches of the day. We're going to be staying with Rejects when we return. They're going to be heading off against Mavericks Gaming Club to see who comes out on top of that matchup. Don't go anywhere.
Seasons come and go like thoughts of you. Like a wave returns to the sea, into the blue. They change but in a cycle that I can't lose. Each painful but delightful to live through. You came into my life, just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. You came into my life, just like another season. Not for long, just a time, just like another season. The seasons turn and change just like your mind. Like the sun gives into the moon, into the night. Time continues marching, it slowly crawls. With each new one starting, I recall. You came into my life, just like another season. Not so long, just a time, just like another season. You came into my life, just like another season. Not so long, just a time, just like another season. for the throne. I'm coming for the throne.
Welcome everybody to Call of Duty Challengers Elite, the community broadcast here, brought to you by myself, Infinity, and Enigma. Andy, we've had an incredible first series there. Rejects, unfortunately, unable to take it this time around. They're looking for a win versus yet another Spanish squad in Mavericks.
They are indeed, and I think that it's fair to say the Rejects were a little bit run over in the respawns when it came to that last series. And I do worry a little bit going then up against Mavericks, because this side can be extremely slay heavy. As we saw in their previous series that was done on the mainstream, they were very, very hot, far too hot to handle for a Belgian power, winning 3-0. And yeah, this one might be over quickly unless Rejects find something extra in the bag.
Yeah, it might well indeed, of course. Rejects, we've spoken at length, really. I think over the course of we've had 5 seasons to talk about it, really, on the community broadcast. How important it is to start well in challenges, because even in the round robin stage, where you play 7 matches in total, your first 2 matches can really mess you up if you don't start well. So this is going to be an important one for Rejects, and also to an extent Mavericks as well. He will want to go 2-0 to start off their stage 5 campaign. So let's kick off here by talking about the team that we haven't got to see so far. We saw them kind of in the secondary matchup where they 3-0'd Belgium squad, Mavericks Gaming Club. Now, this squad, of course, regardless of which name you know them by, they've kind of been a chameleon in a way all season long. For stage 1 and stage 2, they were a bubble team who were unable to make it into Challengers Elite, but they got there with the 3rd time lucky in Challengers Elite stage number 3. And since then, they have been an installment of Challengers Elite in both stage 3 and stage 4, both times placing 3rd. I mean, it's fair to say, just looking at the track record of this Mavericks team, they are a venomous roster and a half.
They are, and it's weird because I feel like they always slide under the radar a little bit. You never have them up there in your contention spots or really talk about them as much of a powerhouse. But then every time we get to the actual matches, we're like, oh yeah, this side are actually really good. So, you know,
Yeah.
you've got players like Super, Eric Boom, who have that takeover kind of potential. And behind that, Sukri and Vikkel, who are themselves really good players. So I do think that this is indeed a very good lineup, and we should give them their dues and recognize the kind of potential that this side have. Do I think that they'll go on to win? Would I put my money on them for the entire stage? No, probably not. But we're going to open up the map set here between these sides.
What I'm going to be looking at in this series, because you know, I don't want to say it, I don't want to keep on bringing it up, but we're going to get a standoff, and I'm happy. I'm really happy. I don't know if I can really portray those emotions correctly, but I'll do it by giving you guys a very happy smile.
Well, look, it's a very hot evening, and we're mustering through all of our energy. But I do think when we get to that standoff, you will definitely find an extra gear, because by God, you love that map. But
I do.
when it comes to this first map, this is the raid Hardpoint that I do believe we are loading into. Fully expect to see you spoke about Hawkeye. He does have that takeover potential, that star potential. I feel like the rest of this side are showing whether or not they can hang at this level to a certain degree, whereas we know that he really can. And I'm looking at him if Rejects are going to have a chance in this series.
Well, indeed, we're going to get into our first map in the series, of course, Raid Hardpoint. We talk about those fundamentals. Let's see if what we know on paper will translate in-game performance for Mavericks Gaming Club as they're going to start things off not actually in control of P1.
No, the nice flying start from Rejects, but those are some great shots out of Super, who puts 3 straight onto the board and gets them back into the hill. That's a multi-kill for him. And the thing is now, look at this move from Reject. They're trying to get some mid-control here, trying to push on through and ride for Kitchen. But Vickle does enough. And Vickle perhaps one of the players on this side who I think he does the dirty work that opens it up for the rest of the side here. One of the things there, for example, controlling those important points. He only gets 1 kill and loses... gets 1 kill and has 1 death, but overall does a lot of work for his side.
Well, to kick things off here, Mavericks, they will have a lead. They'll also have control of the rotation towards Kitchen. It is going to be these rotations I want to focus on going forward, but for the moment, we'll see how good Rejects' breaks are. Apparently not that good, not against the squad that is Mavericks. They wipe Rejects away, no problem at all.
No problem at all. Still got quite a while left on this first hill, so they do have an opportunity. Hawkey, that man we spoke so much about, has an opportunity down on Rock's side, but it's disjointed. They're a bit spread out. They need to arrive together, and here might be an opportunity, Brody.
Indeed it is. Sable's going to pick up that first kill. Super is going to have to play his life for the moment. Instead, actually going to go for a wrap around, and Vickle instead, he's got himself a tortilla wrap. He's going to pick up 2 inside the hard point. Sane is there for a trade, not before Super, though, is able to take him down. And now look at this for a rotation. Super in the back line will pick up 2 kills, but it doesn't really matter that much as we got to focus on a rotation here, Randy. Vickle's already over there. A 1v1 versus Connor. He takes him out, and this effectively is a perfect hold on P2, followed up by a great rotation towards P3. If you're a Connor here, you just got to waste time.
You have it. He's doing a fantastic job of exactly that and trying to get his teammates to arrive. Disable will get in on one side, and I tell you what, Connor has just saved them from making an absolute howler of a play. We spoke about it in the Garrison the last series. They hit sites too late. They continue to hit, continue to get too aggressive, flip the spawn at the wrong moment, and then lose the next rotation. Nearly happens again. They get away with it by the skin of their teeth. Now, these guys are top-level players. They shouldn't be falling for this over and over and over again. Connor going to continue to clear out Jim. Got plenty of damage into Eric Boone, and surely that's going to be cleaned up. It will. So a great haul from Rejects in the end. They recover from what could have been a horrible mistake. We move towards basketball next, and Mavericks already set up.
Mavericks, they're there for this rotation. Rejects, can they find a way in? That is going to be the question. You're seeing players filter on through the mid-map. They want to get control of money. Should be able to do so with ease. I don't think Super expected this whatsoever. Now it's just going to be down to Saiyan and Disable in the backline. Disable actually manages to slip the net. Almost does a little bit more damage than maybe Mavericks would have desired, but it doesn't really matter too much. Mavericks will be close by, but look at the spawns here, Randy. Rejects have now spawned over towards jungle, over towards laundry, and this is all going to be on Sukri. Inside, they've located him. They should be able to take him down, and here come the wave of Rejects players. Eric Boom has so much to do here, has the support of his team, and look at this. Eric Boom and Vickle combined for 4. Eric Boom, Mavericks in for the time.
Goodness me, he goes absolutely huge there. Arrives at the right moment to back up his teammate and gets all the kills. I love the bait and switches as well. First Eric Boom slides in, then ducks out, then Vickle's over the top, and they go back and forth and do a fantastic job of locking that down, extending this out to nearly a 70-point lead. Eric's actually going to move himself onto a 5. So does he start to play a little bit more for those streaks that we know can come in handy? But for now, I mean, well, actually, he's going to fall. So no, we move to P5, and there's an interesting spawn actually for Eric.
Eric get them in from behind. Saiyan does predict it, but Eric Boom's SMG is just a little bit better there in that situation. I thought Eric Boom, for a second there, was going to take out Connor over towards the ring side, but realistically, damage done. Eric Boom takes players out of position, opens up the hill for Mavericks to find their way in, and now it's about Mavericks really opening up the game from this point onwards. Already the scoreline doesn't exactly look favorable in favor of Rejects. This would be more salt in the wound. Mavericks just doing so well at the moment to hold on this hard point, Andy.
They're shutting it all down. There was a pinch set up trying to come through there from Rejects, and they just don't get the time to execute it. Nothing comes through, and that's reasons like that. Hawkey has it. Sukri dead to rights effectively. Sukri lands the shot punch and just bullies his way through. The little bit of a silver lining that I guess Rejects have is that they put themselves in a position where they can rotate into one nice and easily. But after the first set of rotations, there's a considerable lead here for Mavericks. Their SMGs in particular really enjoying themselves, and this is a tough situation for Rejects, who has to get something going. I just don't know where this spot's going to come from, Brody.
Well, it needs to come from somewhere. That's the bottom line here, doesn't it? Rejects, they need to get something going, because at the moment, Mavericks just in such a favorable position here in map number 1. Mavericks now inside the hardpoint, looking to soak up even more time. And the problem here for Rejects, if anything, is they need to get past this hardpoint, not only, of course, to get this hardpoint time, but for the rotation towards new. Because Vickle is in mid-map, causing all sorts of issues. He picks up one. Sukri goes to pick up the slack. Hawkeye actually with a very important two-piece there to maybe open up a rotation for Rejects. Now we look over towards Hawkeye inside that money area of the map. Super causing issues over here, though. He will end up falling. And while that's going on, Hawkeye makes a heroic play, picks up 4, and keeps the hope of this rotational play alive for this Rejects roster.
The star power on this squad, the play that he has made here is huge. Unfortunately, he's going to fall, but his teammates have to capitalize on this. He's pulled them from the brink on this one. It goes absolutely massive, and it's just his teammates just don't get it done, and the spawn's gonna flip again. And if I'm Hawkeye, I mean, look, he's 15 and 16, but he's making big plays at the right moments. Unfortunately, his team's not able to capitalize, and they're out of the 100-point club of Rejects, but you feel like it's more playing for pride and just trying to keep it close than anything, as we see another 3 light up blue for Mavericks.
I think now you're at this point, right, where even 20 seconds of time, you're giving away so much to Mavericks. 20 seconds of time normally would be like, right, we'll leave it, we'll focus on the rotation. This, quite frankly, just isn't time that you can give away, and Rejects will be very unhappy if they have to do it. Mavericks now going to be looking to rotate through. They'll be happy with that scrap time. They'll finish this hard point about 15 seconds shy of victory, but every single kill on the kill feed is going their way. Rejects just cannot get anything going. It's going to all be about now this rotation towards the next hard point. Perfect hard point is what we need from here on out for this Rejects roster. And here it goes, the hit coming in from Mavericks. Eric Boom with the first kill. Vickle looking to slide on through. Eric with number 2. Eric looking for number 3. It's going to be Vickle who's able to pick it up, but that's damage done right there. Mavericks, they break in. Rejects, they needed perfect hard point. They couldn't dig deep enough to find it. And now they need to fight in for the time. Can they get in time? Can they get a touch going? The answer, of course, is no. Mavericks wipe them out.
Straight up bullying at the end of the day by this one. This was really straightforward for Mavericks. I don't think that there was a moment where Rejects looked like they would be in it at any point. Let's move KDs aside, right? Because that doesn't always tell the whole story. Kind of could do here because they just get slapped back down to Rejects. But at the end of the day, that final hold is another example of how it didn't work for Rejects. They set up for that Garage Hill. They're super deep. They don't give themselves an opportunity to maybe fight a wave or two. They've got one chance to try and defend it. All falls apart, and Mavericks just walk on in. And that's just the story, really, the entire time. If they didn't break, they didn't hold either.
Yeah, it was early on, Mavericks, they did show promise, but I think it's towards the end of the first rotation where Mavericks really started to pull away, right? It's not like Mavericks were having a terrible go of things, or Rejects were having a terrible go of things at all. It was just, I think in some of the really key moments, in some of the key rotations, Mavericks just held better. And I think, the way that you and I kind of surmised that map was going to go before we got into it, with Mavericks just being a much more experienced team as a team, right? As a roster, these guys, they trust each other a lot more. They have a lot of those sort of innate timings and stuff correct down to a T as a team. Rejects just don't have that right now, and it shows in map number 1 with Mavericks coming out on top in what I would describe as a pretty indomitable scoreline. They looked good, Andy, and of course it does help that Super Eric Boom have incredible games.
It does, and just bringing up those players, we do have the stats from their last performance. Thank you very much to our production crew who've given that to us. Super finishes the previous series where they won 3-0. 1.69 KD, Vickle 1.28, Eric Boom with a 1.5. Your big slayers stepping up in the right moments, and it was the same here again. They've clearly carried that momentum over into this series. Very hot off the rip, and some big plays as well. You spoke about Eric Boom towards the end of that, where he's getting 2 and then snapping onto the third. Might not kill him, but it's just a cleanup job for the rest of his team. And you know, Raid will punish you if you don't know your fundamentals, and losing gunfights as regularly as that, well, that's just a one-way ticket to a destination and a result, really.
Well, let's see how that result looks on our scoreboard then, our map set for this series thus far. Of course, I already know where we're going next. I have that locked away in the memory bank as it's Standoff, Search and Destroy. We're very excited to get into that one next up. We're followed by a Raid Control. We will get that 100%. And Apocalypse Hardpoint, which I do actually want to see. And then Express Search and Destroy again to round out the series. But, you know, just laser focusing in here on the Standoff, Search and Destroy for Rejects and Mavericks. I suppose the one advantage that you do kind of have here for your Rejects is that, you know, on the whole, your roster is, I would say, more experienced than that of Mavericks, who are a very young squad on the whole. Maybe apart from Super, who I believe is a little bit older than the rest of the team.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point, but I struggled sometimes with the term experience. If you don't, experience comes in the form of leadership, right? Like we're in Call of Duty where things change every year, the maps, modes, games. We have the most versatile esports players in the damn world, whether they like that or not, as the thing. But it comes through in leadership, and I just ask where that's coming from for Rejects. Hawkey makes star plays, but the rest of the side, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be that connection there between them all, and if they are going to have that, then they need to all come together as a squad and make use of it. Mavericks, on the other hand, are just showing that raw gun skill and pure explosive power that they possess. I mean, Eric Boom in particular, you know, really lighting it up. However, just not to hop too much on that one-sided drum, last time out, we saw Rejects take away an S&D, right, with that big round 11 moment. We're back at we're on to Standoff. Could happen here, Brody? It could.
Yeah, and I suppose the other thing here that we kind of mentioned before we got into the Search and Destroy last time around is that Rejects do have that sort of innate advantage of being a new roster in a way, and you don't know their strats. It really is as simple as that. If they've conjured any at all in their short time together, of course, this Reject squad only came together, I believe, for this stage. I don't even think they played together in Open number 4, so they are effectively a brand new roster right for this stage. So if they have got strategies together for Search and Destroy, if they have got strategies together for Standoff, Search and Destroy, Mavericks won't know what they are. This is the first time that these two teams have faced off in a competitive environment. Again, down to the fact that this Rejects v2 roster is new. They're brand new. Nobody's ever seen them before. So yeah, I guess there's an advantage in that for Rejects, but it's whether or not that's going to be enough to beat Mavericks, because in a way that this squad has been together for so long, their Search and Destroy is brilliant.
It really is. It really is. We're trying to find ways to give Rejects away into this series, but we're struggling, all right? We're struggling. The one thing about Standoff, I guess, is it's relatively newer than the other maps in our S&D pool. Maybe teams don't have as many strats put together for this. You know, I mean, sure, sides have been practicing it, but maybe there's an opportunity in there for a couple of interesting moments from Rejects. I do believe that the map is loading up, and we're not very far away. So what I want to see here, Brody, is the same as I always ask for in these S&D maps, where we are seeing a lot of those straight lines and such. Go out, execute a strategy, make it happen. Be bold, be brave, be aggressive. Don't stand around and just wait for a pick.
Indeed, you gotta go faster than this one, and we're in for this game between Mavericks and Rejects, and already here it's a 1 versus 4. Apologies for the late load into this one, but Connor left all on his lonesome in this one. Not a chance, mate. Not a chance. And I would ask you at this point to analyze what the hell happened there, but I mean, honestly, we didn't see it. So,
I mean,
Connor 1 versus 4.
got shot in the backside, so that's what I can tell you there, Brody.
Thank you for that premium analysis. Back to you, Jeff, on the analyst desk.
Here,
Did the van just load in there? Oh my goodness.
That was bizarre, right? I'm glad I'm not the only one who saw that. What's going on?
Texture streaming on fleek.
Okay, all right. Put our heads back on. We have an attack round here then for Rejects. An opportunity to answer back. You never want to read too much into into a map 1 round in, and Hawkey here is going to get aggressive through Brown, but look where the bomb's going. He's wrapping it all the way around. Mavericks have just taken complete mid-map control. I don't think I've seen that kind of defensive strategy on here before.
It's very bold from Mavericks. They will say that much. Normally, you have kind of players pushed up to A because it's such a massive risk, right? You give up A control, and if Rejects are able to get that bomb down on A, it's basically game over. It's round over, effectively. It's very hard to retake. It is a risk that has paid off, though, for Mavericks, right? I mean, they've managed to get that first blood. Hawkeye, though, does trade things out. Now, a 3-for-3 situation, but look at Vickle coming in from behind. Gets one, pops for the second, doesn't actually end up picking that kill. Saiyan will win that gunfight. Connor decides to walk out in the open and dies for it. And now Saiyan in a 1 versus 2.
He is, but he has an opportunity here because Sukri's all by himself, but Sukri will win the gunfight. If that goes the other way there's a huge opportunity. A very interesting defensive line from Mavericks. They decide to instead completely take mid-map. Don't prioritize A at all. That, to me, smells of a bit of a party piece. I don't know if we'll see that very often. Maybe they're bringing it out to test it against a side that they see as not being as strong, or they feel like, okay, well, we can throw a couple of things in here because if, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out and we lose the S&D, we feel real good on the respawns.
Well, here's a live looking at what's going on in our other series, of course. This is the wonderful talent of the producers and the production we have ongoing behind the streams. A very close hard point going on right now between Amelia Strays and Team War. But focusing on this search and destroy, Saiyan almost gets the drop on Super. Not to be, though. Also has backup here from his teammate in Eric Boom. So these guys kind of want to assault this back alley. And if that's their objective, Andy, they've done a great job.
It is, and it's a lot of noise as well, and Hawkeye's going to be left at A to deal with it himself, and unfortunately gets cut down. So maybe a bit of smoke and mirrors here that allows Mavericks to open up the map entirely, but Super's got to stay alive. Super's got to stay up. He will not. So we end up in a 1v2 situation. Vickle, bomb in hand, and he's going to run straight into them.
It is. It depends who wins his first gunfight. Connor's there now for the backup. Vickle is dead to rights. There's no way there. If Vickle maybe turns that corner, wins the gunfight somehow, some way, he might have survived that. But when you're in that situation, it's just so tough to win.
It is. I think that actually, again, we were in a scenario where defensively there wasn't much A control. I think only Hawkeye was pushed up for rejects. So Mavericks kind of weren't expecting that, I don't think, and instead tried to rotate the bomb back towards B when A was completely open. They're obviously unawares. We get X-ray vision. They do not. Rejects with an opportunity. And they're going to be bold, Brody, straight at courtyard.
I love this play coming in from Mavericks. They've gone straight towards the gas station in from behind, but while doing so, they've actually given up the mid-map control to rejects. Now, the question is, how quickly do they realize this play has happened? Because if they get this bomb down straight away, they could have an advantage. But this is the problem. You spend so long looking for Mavericks, trying to find where they've gone, that you don't even realize they are behind you, ready to assassinate you, to take you out of the round. And they've done exactly that. He finds himself in a 1 versus 4. He got an ace in the game number 2 of the last series. He can't do it here, not to save the round.
If I thought the last one was going to be a little bit of a party piece, this one definitely was. What was that hit from them on the defensive side of things? Pushed themselves out through gas. Again, it's weird because the previous one was to take complete mid-map control. This time they were like, okay, we're going to give it all up to you. Very interesting stuff out of Mavericks. They extend themselves into that 2-round lead, and I want to see something real fancy on the attack now as well. The defense has been interesting. The attack, let's see something different.
Mavericks looking for something on the offense. Unfortunately for them, Sukri will end up falling over towards mid-street. So now I think they're going to have to rethink this play. Find some kind of advantage, some kind of opening. If they can get control of Tractor, of control of the A-bomb site, this round could flip on its head.
It could, but with the man down, this is very difficult. Standoff isn't super first blood heavy, but advantage in numbers is always going to be a good thing. And Vickle times that to perfection. Must have worked something out with his teammate because he went down in 1 bullet there, and they were going to try and isolate this A bomb. Now, if you get this right on the timing, this could be perfect. Look at it go. Oh,
what?
Okay.
Vickle, you want to win a gunfight, buddy? That's a really big one to lose. Super now in a 1 versus 3. And there's not a lot of time to make this work if you're a super. He does this. He is a miracle worker. He might well get something. Okay, the first few shots. If you're a super in that situation, you need to get that kill effectively immediately. Otherwise, the round's over. You simply don't have the time to mess around. he's done for. Rejects win. But I want to rewind for a second. It's rewind time. Let's talk about Fickle.
We're not going to get the opportunity to see it, but that was a gunfight that he should have definitely won. I don't know how he loses it, and quite frankly, that's the decider of the round for me. That's the opportunity right there. He's had a fantastic game so far, currently 7-4. So we'll move on. We'll move forward from it as you guys get your live looking again.
Here it is. It's a very close hard point right now, going down to the wire over there. Team War look like they're about to take it. A couple more kills and it should be done. I don't think Amelia Strays are going to touch the hard point. Maybe they will actually. And there it is. Team War end up winning map number 1. A very close one versus Amelia Strays. Of course, that it may be a fight actually for one of the top spots in the league if Team War do well later down the line. We'll keep you guys tuned in as to what's going on with that as that matchup progresses. For now, though, Rejects versus Mavericks is all coming down here to the A bomb site, and Saiyan not going to let Eric Boom get away here over towards A.
Some fantastic movement. There might be more for him to open this up with. A super 1v3. The last alive for everything right now. What a fantastic round out of Saiyan. Does an amazing job getting himself in and out and around that A zone. I actually think we're going to get to see it here. We will. A little bit of a shimmy here. He just manages to pick up Sukri. Reno's nice and calm, and then just, I don't know if it's timing or just some smooth movement, but he gets himself in and around, does a great job. And Rejects pull themselves back in. So for all of Maverick's fancy work, for all of their special pieces, we're currently at 3 each. And, you know, one of those where Mavericks, when they are winning the rounds, it's very dominant. But there's also a lot of rounds that Rejects are just chipping away at, taking little bits.
Well, to kick off this round, Mavericks just looking for something to open up situation. Saiyan will actually back away from the alley. Disabled falling, I think, has kind of sent this guy into a bit of concern here. You don't want to die early on and put your team into a 2 versus 4.
You don't. Some very straight shots out of Eric Boom. Will cause Saiyan to back up even more. And this is a lot of ground lost here. So Korean Hawkeye, the only people over near the A site, as the rest of the scrap here for B control. Very important.
Eric. Okay. Almost gets that second. Unfortunately, the shots don't connect. I don't think what would have happened if they did. Would be a very different situation to the 2 versus 3 that we're seeing right now. Good news for Mavericks is, while they do have to get this bomb down, Connor and Hawkeye are about as far away as they could possibly get from one another. Hawkeye recognizes this bomb's going down, just doesn't have the positioning to stop it. It will go down regardless of what happens. And now, Connor, the one advantage he did have was that Mavericks had no idea where he was. And, well, as soon as they locate him, down he goes. Mavericks end up taking that round.
Fantastic awareness by Sukri, by the way. Him and Hawkeye spent pretty much the entire round in a little bit of a dance-off over by A. Couldn't really clean each other up, couldn't finish things. Once everything else went down over by Grandma's, they were still fighting. And Sukri's just wise enough to realize that Hawkeye's probably looking for a pinch. He's probably looking to collapse on it. Cleans it up, and that allows them to have that 1v3 scenario. If he isn't aware there, that suddenly becomes a much messier situation. So he does a great job. They take another lead in this S&D, and Rejects are going to try and get themselves back on the board here. But it's another big rush from Mavericks as they swarm that mid-map.
Nice little nade trade going on in the mid-map. Hawkeye's going to take one, but also will take one out with him, as now it's a 3 versus 3. Rejects. I like this defensive setup going on, or offensive setup going on at the moment. They're kind of split up. One of them falls, there is no trading. But I tell you what, Andy, it also kind of affords you opportunities like that, where a Disable takes down Eric.
Some great shots. The interesting thing here, has Connor and Saiyan seen? Yeah, they have. Okay, for a second there, I thought that they'd snuck underneath. Vickle does actually manage to get through, so maybe they didn't see him, and he stays up in the 1v2, and Bomb will go down very quickly, but there is a timing opportunity here, perhaps.
Oh, the timing. You mentioned it. Andy, you mentioned that timing. He gets that kill, and now he has ample time to make this 1 versus 1 happen. This is all a 50-50 on Connor's part. He needs to check this at the right time. Vickle's going to do it. He's going to see him. Just needs to get the shots in. There it is. Crisp, I'm surprised he didn't go around the back of the tank to make sure those shots connected, but he is confident in his AK-70 for a U shot, and why wouldn't you be if you're Vickle? A 1 versus 2, perfectly executed.
What just happened? Vickle reads that like a book. This is disgusting. Like, he gets the first kill, and it's like a timing thing. You're like, okay, fair enough. He knows where Connor is going to be before we did. That was insane. What a great play. What a heads-up movement from Vickle. Goodness me. I mean, I'm stunned by how well he read that. I know that these guys like the top end of amateur Call of Duty, but goodness me, he knew what was going on there from start to finish. Great stuff from him. Goes out onto a 4 streak of his own, and 2-round lead for Mavericks.
And they want to finish it here in round number 9. In control of the A-bomb site. We've spoken about how deadly that can be for the defensive side if you don't have control. How about that kill from Hawkeye, though? Takes down Sukri in from behind. And now Vickle and Eric Boom find themselves in the honey trap that is A. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. The rock being Connor and Disable, the hard place being Hawkeye and Saiyant. Pinching in from behind. Vickle is able to pick up 1. This is going to need some heroics from this dynamic duo. And heroic, I'll tell you what, they're pretty heroic. I describe them as heroic. Vickle picks up 2. And that's a 2 versus 4 for the deadly dynamic duo. That is Vickle and Eric Boom. Let's take a look at this one again.
I tell you what, Vickle has just had one of the best S&D games from an individual I have seen in... Well, no, actually, I lie. Because last series, Hawkeye had one, which was one of the best I've ever seen. So, right there, phenomenal stuff from Vickle. Ends off with 2 incredible rounds. I think he goes like 13-6 or something towards the end of that. Absolutely massive. 2v4 as well. And, you know, we saw it from Vickle's point of view. We saw what he did there on that side. But credit also to Eric Boom, because you talked about the rock and the hard place. Eric Boom makes sure that at least one of those sides is completely cleaned out so they can all turn, look, and know where the rest of the boys are coming from.
Wow. What a game 2. What a game 2 there. I believe we can just take a very brief look at our map set to show you guys how that looked very quickly, because it has an adverse effect on how the series looks now. Mavericks now 2-0 up overall. That was a map that we said, you know, despite the fact that Mavericks had a clear advantage in terms of maybe their experience as a roster, the fact that they didn't know what Rejects were going to do, they didn't know what strats would maybe come out of the playbook, that might have given Rejects a slight advantage there, at least in those terms, but it didn't happen. Mavericks cleanly taking map number 1, I'd say very cleanly taking map number 2 also, and that gives them a hell of a lot of confidence going into map number 3. That's going to be raid control here, Andy. This could be the closer of the series, and honestly, I never want to discount anybody out. This is Call of Duty, anything can happen. We could well see a reverse sweep here from Rejects, but the way that Mavericks are playing at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised.
No, me neither. They look very good. They 3-0'd their previous series. They look good to 3-0 here again and start off their Stage 5 campaign absolutely perfectly, flawlessly even. And individual performances across the board, as well as some just fantastic fundamental Call of Duty. We've seen some party pieces from them in the S&D. We've seen some big clutches. And in the hardpoint, they were so good. So we're going to go and see the control in a minute. And I'm really struggling for any reason to give Rejects a chance back in this. Raid is super slay heavy. We've seen that Mavericks contain the better side of that. So, yeah, this is tough.
Well, the challenge is Elite Community Stream. We're not on the CCL, guys. Don't you worry. Here is Rejects and Mavericks dropping into game number 3. This could well be the last one of the series. And this is a pretty good start from Rejects, though. I was kind of concerned here that Mavericks might just maybe take Rejects for a ride to start this one. But Vickle! Okay, never mind. I'm discounting everything I'm saying. Vickle's just having a hell of a series so far. And he is not stopping for anybody.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting is the word for it. They're going to get 2 stacked onto A. Well, actually, no. Vickle's out for more. Vickle wants blood. He's feeling hot. He's happy to take on gunfights that he has no right of winning. And speaking of which, Eric Boom taking on a Krig over that range. Goodness me, feeling himself. But I'd be surprised here if A doesn't come through. I think actually, if I'm Mavericks, why are you being so aggressive here? Just see out the A zone. You've got more than enough slaying power to push Rejects back. But I mean, everything's blue in the feed still, Brody, even killing their own teammates.
Yeah, Mavericks are on one at the moment. Vickles having a hell of a start of this one. 5-1, all 5 on a spree. He will get taken down before he can even think about earning some score streaks. Those would be disastrous, I think, early on for this one. If Mavericks would have earned them, Rejects would not be happy with that. But I mean, already here, Mavericks have got themselves such a powerful position. Now, readying themselves for this flank in from behind. Eric Boom has to pull off some heroics. He's not able to do it. Connor picks up 2, make it 3. And that right there, the powerful Krig 6 in the hands of the powerful Connor.
Very powerful indeed, but problem for Rejects is they have no mid control, and this is what they need. And Vickle goes huge again, gets another 2-piece. What feels like his 5th so far this series. Absolutely massive, and this now allows Super in through the back, and doesn't get anything in the end though. Disable getting 2, and they just about cling hold of that B zone. But look at Mavericks, the winding one up poolside.
They are. I think the problem at the moment really here for Rejects, right, is that somebody from Mavericks just keeps on getting in from behind. They keep on having to turn around and deal with that threat. And once again here, you can see it on the mini-map actually. Look at Eric Boom in the positioning he is in. He will check this Saiyan, will end up falling. Eric Boom, okay. Eric, you can't be allowing Eric to do that. It just leaves Rejects in such a horrendous position because now all of Mavericks effectively off the back of Eric Boom's play have been allowed map pressure. They've been allowed the pressure to boil up over towards this B zone. Hawkeye will fall, and now Mavericks can do what they do best. Just stack this point, look to finish off the control here. Rejects, you got one chance to stop this. Can you get it done? Well, Hawkeye gets the first nade in. Saiyan, actually with a pretty ballsy play, runs straight out of basketball. The lives here not really in favor of Rejects though. This is 6 versus 4, so you have to rely on just making sure that Mavericks do not get close to this. Sukri picks up yet another one. Hawkeye in the mid-map. Hawkeye in the mid-map picks up 2, though. The positioning is there. Now a 3 versus 3. 10 seconds for Maverick to make this round happen. Hawkeye will end up falling. So now all on Saiyan and Connor inside the point. Saiyan is revealed his position. It's always on him effectively. He picks up 2. Can Sukri touch? Yes, he can. Now a Sukri one-on-one. Trophy system stops the nade from doing anything. It will actually go out. Sukri with a challenge, but Connor wins the fight. And Rejects end up winning the play. Oh my goodness me. That was an incredibly tense control there in round number 1.
First of all, the first thing to break down there is that Mavericks need to focus up and play control. The amount of times they seem to just have the point completely under control and then run off it was so high. Whether it's disrespect, whether they're just feeling themselves or not focused, or it's just a strategy, I don't know. But get on the point, capture the damn thing. But Rejects do an incredible job of getting themselves back into it. Hawkeye goes huge in that mid-map area, gets himself a 2-piece that really puts a stunt into Mavericks, and they have to fly at the point. It's super close, comes down to that 1v1, and Connor comes out on top, does a great job. Mavericks be kicking themselves.
Well, Mavericks will not be happy with that one. We'll see whether or not they can fix up here for round number 2. Rejects will be clutching up. A lot of that was down to Connor. A couple of clutch moments there, able to alleviate the pressure when it was necessary. Of course, the match for 1 versus 1 towards the end of the round. Now, though, has to pull off a 1 versus 3 on the point. And will end up falling. Mavericks will be able to remove all of that pressure for the moment.
Got themselves a nice line set up here. It does come through. They're going to be fully aware of it. Actually, Eric Boom here could be blessed. Gets 1, gets 2. Absolutely. That's the kind of explosiveness that this team possess. And look at him now, marauding in through the spawn. Going to continue to make a mess. Goes on to 3. And this line now from Mavericks extends out as Eric Boom pushes himself onto a 4. And goodness me, Brody, this attack round looking over before it's even begun as we get to that final 30.
Eric Boom just continues to be a nuisance. If he stays alive there, I was about to say, that's just insane. He will actually end up falling, so Rejects will find their way onto the point for the moment. And Saiyan picks up that kill over towards Laundry. This, I think, will solidify it, to be honest. Mavericks are spawning out over towards basketball, even if they wanted to. Rejects only need 2 players on the point to stack it and finish it off here. So this will be a capture regardless of what happens. An extra 60 seconds on the clock for Rejects to really think about the way they want to approach this play onto B. And there it is. The capture comes through. Now, if you're Rejects here, Andy, how do you approach this?
To be honest, this is a really good moment of them. This is the best moment we've seen so far this map from them. They've managed to get themselves back within 4 lives. A minute ago, that was a scary situation. They've got a whole minute. The problem is that it's only 1 minute, but if you get a good first wave here, you can make progress. The first will come through. Eric Boom's going to continue to cause trouble. He needs to be cut down. He is. But this is a situation now where Rejects, they have a lot of lives in the bank, but 50 seconds to go, and they're spawning all the way out. They've got to do something, and it's tough, Brody. It's really tough. They do have mid-control. Trying to get forward here with Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, if he wins that gunfight, could cause some serious issues for Mavericks. He isn't able to do it. But look at Disable. Round the flank he goes. I don't think Mavericks know that he's there. They might have an inkling just because of the spawns of the players that, hey, somebody's in from behind. Here it goes, though. Someone's going to check this. Disable can only do so much. And there you go. Finally, Eric Boom does take him down. Took his time to make it happen. And with Super picking up 2 there, I think this round is effectively done short of something special from Rejects. The positioning is just too strong for Mavericks. I think their primary concern at this point, just making sure that Super does not earn these streaks. They won't know he's on it. But I tell you what, Hawkeye gets the kill anyway. No streaks for you, Super. You have been denied. The round, however, does go to the Spaniards.
It does. It does. They put themselves back in, and that was as commanding as you can ask for, really. You might get a captured zone from Rejects, but I really feel like they give it up. They're more than happy to just sit back and play. And on the slaying side of things, I do feel that they're really enjoying themselves in Mavericks. Perhaps a little bit too much, perhaps getting a little bit carried away. But at the end of the day, make it even. They have another opportunity here with an attack round, and I feel like they threw the last one considerably. Individuals, Super 15 and 9, Eric Boom 16 and 12, and we watched him pop off with the odd streak or 2. Interestingly, on Rejects, Hawkeye 8 and 17, their star player, not having a great map.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent on this Rejects roster. I wouldn't necessarily describe Hawkeye as the only player that could do something, right? I mean, the rest of the squad, if they can really start to pick things up, it is a deadly team, at least on paper. We'll see whether or not that will come to pass, though, for sure, though. Hawkeye turning up would be nice for Rejects, wouldn't it? On the defense at the moment, they do need somebody to step things up to stop any progression at B. It won't happen, though, for the moment. Sukri in the mid-map, though, might just be about to face a hell of a lot of pressure. Coming from Rejects, Sukri is just a pro at this, man. He can deal with that pressure, no problem at all.
I love the movement to get out alive, and he will then follow up to get the trade, cutting Sane down mid-map, and he's surely going to come through. Some great shots there out of Super, who really is a phenomenal player. Reads this to perfection. Knew Disable was coming before I'd even looked down at my mini-map to find out where the red arrows were. A fantastic play from him. Is going to give them that A zone, and they're going to have 2 minutes and 14 seconds to attack this B site. I don't care who you are, Brody. That's a lot of time, and this is going to be a long 2 minutes for a Reject side that are struggling and just about clinging on right now.
Indeed, they are. Mavericks. We'll see if they're able to end up taking this one. Connor in kitchen, I think, is the problem that Vickle needs to deal with, and he's able to snuff him out there. That's going to be a kill that will effectively clear the entirety of B. And now, Rejects, you're in this real problem position where you're spawning out over towards Laundry. Mavericks have full control of basketball, full control of the map. This needs to be a swarm from Rejects right now. Shots coming in. Disable and Connor able to play the bait and switch to take Super down. The map positioning, the control of basketball is there. Mavericks, though, capturing Zone B. Sukri picks up 2. Just one more player to deal with, and that's the point. Captured Mavericks. They get it done. Sukri picks up 3, and MV3 able to go 2-1 up in the control.
It's super comfortable, super easy. Sukri here as well, like, he's got all the time in the world to just check all these angles, by the way. He had mid-map covered. His teammates realize that there's something coming in through basketball, slides out, deals with that. There's no space for Rejects to make anything happen in this current map. They've not managed to have any control over the important areas, and to be honest, they need to dig deep, because if they lose now, Brody, that series over, and you know, your big attempt at elite life hasn't started well.
No, it has not, and tell you what has started well. Mavericks in this round able to take down a few kills in their favor, and that's a great start. You make sure Rejects don't get any progression over towards A. That can really send a team for a spin. We'll see how Rejects are able to react. And to be fair to this team, right, Andy, when you're left with like 65 seconds on the clock, it seems like a lot of time from our end, but it really isn't to get stuff going.
No, it's not. It's only a couple of hits at it. They've got to be spot on. You need to get bodies onto that point. And here, Mavericks are happy to come back at it. Mavericks are just going to keep contesting it. Last time they were more than comfortable to give it up very, very early. Those are some fantastic shots out of Hawkeye. Fantastic shot again. Connor, multi-kill of his own for 3. And actually, because of the fact that there's so much A progress here, look at those red arrows swarm. Connor is going to move himself out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all shut down. Maybe getting a bit ahead of myself here, bro. That was exciting for a second. That looked good. A should just about come through, I think. Never mind.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Eric Boom. It doesn't matter what you put in his hands. He's got a Krig 6. He's a sub player, for heaven's sake. But it doesn't matter. Eric Boom gets it done anyway. And just a sliver of progression away from capturing A. Mavericks are able to stop Rejects from doing it. Eric Boom continues on this spree. One more kill, and he will stop it in its entirety. I don't believe that's going to happen, though. Hawkeye comes in with a clutch 2-piece. Rejects will finish off the point. But there is not a lot of lives to get this done now.
Down to your final 11. 90 seconds to go. Fair chunk of time, but kills are just not going their way. Every time we seem to switch to a player, it feels like they're getting another 2-piece, another cleanup. There's rarely a situation where a trade doesn't come through. This is one of them, but they're so deep, they're so far back. This is going to be a big hit now, poolside, and Hawkeye's going to slide straight past Eric Boom. It will be traded, but they just don't have a clean set of numbers here to hit this site with. They need to be arriving in multiples, not in singles.
And the problem here is really, right, Mavericks, they just keep on being nuisances in the backline. You keep on having players like this, Fickle, keep on doing plays like this, where they just get in from behind, cause all sorts of problems, make Rejects double think what they're doing. Now down to their last 4 lives in this one before this series is over. Can they pull off a miracle? What a miracle it would be to come back from the brink like this. Down to the final 3, down to the final 1 with that 2-piece coming in. It's actually Disable with a bit of a team play going on. Hawkeye, 1 versus 8. Got a nice ace earlier on. 1 versus 8 would be quite bad to add to his sachet. Can he do it? Absolutely not. Slap to the face to finish it off, and I think that's really emblematic of how this series went for a roster like Rejects against seasoned teams such as Mavericks. Not up to snuff.
No, they really weren't. They needed to come out hot and really try and take the fight to Mavericks, and none of the games really they didn't do that. So, you know, the control, the one round that they get is because they pretty much, I mean, Mavericks made just a lot of mistakes, whether it was from overconfidence or whatever. It may be a bit lackluster, but yeah, back to the drawing board needed for Rejects. I get it. You're new at this level. This is a step up. I mean, I say new. Some of these players have played at this level, but as a squad, but they need to put in some work between now and the next round of games, because you get off to these slow starts in these series, and we've seen it time and time again this year. It is a big mountain to climb afterwards, especially when you then start to need other results to go your way. You're asking for quite a lot.
Well, there it is. Mavericks 3-0 Rejects. Let's take a look at our final map set for the series. No Apocalypse Hardpoint for us. Sad boy hours for us here on the desk, as Apocalypse has been denied. But I'll tell you what, that's a great showing from this Mavericks roster.
It is. It is. I mean, it's as dominant as you can ask for, really. The raid Hardpoint, I mean, it was never close. The standoff S&D, we had one moment where they were 3 apiece, and then Mavericks ran away with it. It's just, yeah, this was never a series that even felt remotely close. And if you're going to be one of those sides that comes in and get 3-0'd, at least look like you have the potential. And I think that all the way through this series, you and me try to be quite positive and give all teams and storylines an opportunity, but we really struggle to find something here. They do have some good individual players, but you need to be far better than individuals in order to stand a chance at this level.
You do indeed. Well, Mavericks, they have 3-0'd Rejects, but our casting isn't done, actually, because the beauty of our production team here on the community broadcast is that we're able to bring you an extra match additionally going on right now. Though we couldn't show you the Search and Destroy because Amelia Strays wanted it covered. God knows why, or actually I kind of do know why, because they clearly need to improve their Search and Destroy. They just got 6-0'd in the S&D, Andy, by War. I would describe that as a battering. I don't know if what word you would use. They destroyed, mangled, manhandled, thrown around, figuratively, of course. Yeah, they lost.
I think the preferred words that I'd like to use aren't allowed on the stream, to be honest. They got, that's a slapping down. That's an absolute slapping down for sure. I get it. I get why teams want to cover the S&D. I do. It's such a
I don't.
shame, but
I don't get it. Just for the record, I don't get it. But whatever. Anyway, continue as you were, Andy. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that in.
No, no, it's fine. It's fine. I believe we're going to hop in on this control right now and get to see the back end of this series. And, well, at least the bits that we're going to be allowed to see. Hopefully they do better because War are actually 1-0 up in the control and trying to make that final push towards A. I think with those kills there, that will shut down that attack and make it one apiece. So defensive side's on top, and that's expected on Garrison. That's pretty standard. But War 2-0 up in this series, I wouldn't have expected that, Brody.
Yeah, I mean, neither would I, to be honest. War, the way Emilia Strays, I mean, what we talk about their stage 3 performance, of course, that Cinderella run where Emilia Strays, albeit with a very different roster, of course, they had Nuke J at the time, and then for stage 4, they had to make a change with Nuke J deciding to take a break due to what I believe was cited as mental health reasons. You know, he decided to leave the roster, and they had to bring in Wardy, and their stage 4 performance, it wasn't the same. Emilia Strays, despite placing 4th there, they just were not the same roster. They haven't been the same roster since Nuke J left the team, and now they have Callum in place of Wardy. I describe Callum as a great SMG player overall, actually, so I think I'd probably say that's an upgrade in a way.
Yeah, I think Callum's really good. I do think Wardy's very good, and I was surprised to see him released. But hey, if you're going to go and get a replacement for a player that I think is super hot right now, then Callum is not a bad one to get at all. But sometimes it's not just about the individuals, how they slot into the system. And right now, I mean, Emilia need to figure out what their system is, because it's 2-0 down in a series. And as we said before, this could be a very much important matchup. Some great shots there from Chax to Jesus. But this could be a matchup that determines a lot of seeding things towards the top end of the group and towards the top end of the season. So, yeah, no, they really do want to get back into this. And right now, the attack, no progress at either side.
For the moment, anyway, Yako kind of wants some progress over towards B. If he wants to get it done, though, he'll have to get rid of Chaxter. Journey's actually going to be able to be responsible for that one. Piero now coming through. He will end up picking 1. Yako, though, still a problem on this point. A problem that Emilia Strays just cannot get rid of for the moment. And if they want to get some progress on this point, you need to get rid of a player like him.
You do. He's enjoying himself a lot right now. 14 and 11. And this War line is going to get quite aggressive. And actually, there was an opportunity there, but it gets cut down again. And into that final 25 seconds. This is that moment in an attack round where you can't be affording to let play slip through the net. And Metals is just about there. And he's going to slow down whatever the next attack wave is. Journey will get the first. Watson will not get the support as Metals puts himself out onto the 5. Make that 6. And this now becomes a dangerous situation, because if he gets streaks, you are asking a heck of a lot. He will fall, Brody. And last-ditch attempts here. Could someone possibly dive onto this? No, never mind. Okay, so all defensive rounds holding so far. Nothing special coming through that we've seen. We didn't get to see that first round, obviously. But, yeah, all defenses on top. And, well, something's got to break at some point. So who's it going to be? Who's going to blink?
I think the thing is, right, like you say, defenses on Garrison control, it's like playing on autopilot, effectively. The way the map is set up, the way the spawns are set up, it's so hard to win offensive rounds. And I know teams have got a lot better at it as time goes on, but when you find yourself in that deadlock and you find yourself in situations like this, it may well just come down to the round number 5. Although, we'll see whether or not things do change here as we go into Garrison control for round number 4. Team War making their way on the offense, and they seem to be targeting A right off the break. This would be incredible if they can make it happen. Watson looking to play his life. He will end up falling, and that's a surge and a half. Chaxter now needs to play hero with the Krig 6. He can't do it. Yako baits him out. Hook, line, and sinker. He goes.
I was about to say, I really want to see someone throw out something different and try and get to that A zone first. And War managed to make it happen before I can even get the words out of my mouth. And if they captured this, Brody, this is a very, very... What on earth was that movement from Lucky? He just absolutely tore Callum a new one. Again, going back to those words that we're not allowed to use on the community stream. And this is now messy. War looked very, very good for it. 2 minutes 16 to attack the favored B zone. Goodness me, this is a long one now for Emilia as Yako punches in another kill.
Yeah, this round is effectively done. You know, there's 2 minutes left on the clock here. We'll have a life advantage, and B is incredibly easy to take. It's so easy when A has gone by the wayside. If Amelia wins this, I mean, look, I know that I've kind of broken the cardinal rule of casting here, which is you never kind of make a call before the game is done. But look at the amount of time there is for Amelia Strays to lose this one. War only need 1 good wave of kills to make it happen. There is still some shining light here in this game. Watson could come up clutch. Needs to win that gunfight, though. He simply isn't able to do it. Piero next up to the plate to try and save the round. He isn't able to do it. And now progress being made at B. 1 more tick, and therefore 1 more defensive hold. It's Jackster in from behind. It's Jackster in from behind. He can only pick up 2 before being traded out. Now it's Journey on the point. Now it's Journey on the point. He picks up 3, and Team War get it done. 3-1 in the control, 3-0 in the series. And that's not the best start, is it, for Amelia Strays?
It really isn't. It really isn't. I know that we've spoken several times about the Cinderella story that they've had as a roster and how no one would have expected them to do what they did. But they did, Brody. They won a stage. They've been one of the top teams now for a bit, and that was not a top team performance. That is a run over. I know that the Hardpoint was extremely close. The S&D was a stinker. Jesus, they got battered. And then we go into that control, and it wasn't awe-inspiring either. Amelia are a very good side, and I'm going to give War the credit of the doubt. Sorry, the benefit of the doubt. Goodness me, it's late. And say that they're just playing very, very well. But Amelia, a lot of questions to ask themselves, because we do expect to see them in that top 4 and fighting for that big spots. And that wasn't a confidence-inspiring result.
It wasn't, no. And I was kind of, I guess, curious in a way how this Amelia Strays roster would end up performing, of course, post-roster change, because it is one of the most notable roster changes that we actually have here coming into Stage 4. Amelia Strays being this really unique story, the Cinderella run they made in Stage 3, followed by a rather disappointing Stage number 4, kind of set back a few paces. And now, you know, the question is, how are they going to perform in Stage 5? Because at this point in the season, you need to playing at your very best. Finals is fast approaching. LCQs is fast approaching if you need it. Of course, Amelia Strays is probably not a roster that will need it, but hey, who knows? But you know, I think overall the point here for day number 1, Amelia Strays, they had a couple of really hard opponents. Of course, Elevate in the first match of the day, they got quickly 3-0 swept aside. This one as well, battered like a Mars bar here in the Search and Destroy, and well, not the best showing overall in the series also, 3-0. But yeah, Andy, I mean, that answers the question, doesn't it? Amelia Strays, they haven't had the best showing on day number 1, but there is always space for a comeback.
Brother, I ain't ever eaten a Mars bar that you handed me if it's been battered. What on earth?
Have you never had a battered Mars bar?
No, and I refuse.
Oh, no.
That sounds like a heart attack on a dish,
Okay,
bro.
right,
I'm
just
not...
Set aside for a second here. Everybody in chat who is in the UK and has had a battered Mars bar. This might also be a US based thing, by the way. I don't know if US has Mars bars, to be fair. But if anybody in the UK has had a battered Mars bar, tweet me. I got my Twitter somewhere here. Tweet me about your battered Mars bar experience. Tweet Andy about his battered Mars bar experience. The lack thereof. Because battered Mars bars, anyway, they're great. They're great food. They're amazing. Amelia Strays, battered Mars bars.
Moving forward from that, yeah, sorry. So getting on to Amelia Strays, I think that the thing is here, so, you know, again, going back to that Cinderella story and the peak that they had, and they're kind of tumbling down a bit now. And I think that this is one of those moments where you assess, okay, what kind of leadership quality does this team have? What kind of mentality does this team have? Because it's really all good and well to play well and to have those vibes when you're on the way up. It's a completely different story when you're on the way down. And the 3-0 against Elevate, fine. Elevate are a ridiculous roster. You know, they'll be sat there going back over the VODs and how to improve. But 3-0 against War, I think that's a different story at this stage of the season. And again, they need to pull something together quickly, because if they end up in that bottom end scrap and looking for other results to go their way, we really will find out what they're made of quickly. And as you said, LCQs aren't far away. Oh, it's getting towards that important part of the season.
Yeah, and I would describe this as a really important match as well. I think, Amelia Strays and Team War, they are not far off one another in terms of power rankings in European challenges. I look at them as as both rosters that I would say are within the top six. And this is one of those really important mid-table matches that, maybe will decide whether or not Amelia Strays might get a look in a straight spot in playoffs and therefore, of course, finals at the end of the season, or, whether or not Team War have effectively guaranteed themselves a great start to the season. But either way, Andy, this has been an incredible day of casting with you. I've enjoyed every second of it, buddy.
It has not. I've loved it. I was really struggling to hold my voice after the England game. It's been a very hot and humid day as well, so I need a nice hot bath. But it's also been fantastic casting with yourself and working with the talented team here. It's always a wonder casting over the players that are a part of this, and I look forward to doing more of it and seeing more of them climb the ladder that is Call of Duty challenges and hopefully into the league. And we are getting nearer and nearer and nearer to all the exciting
Crazy.
stuff, all of the fun bits, and I can't wait for it, Brody. I really can't.
Neither can I. Well, we're not done. We are. We're done. Me and Andy are done. But we're not done here at youtube.com/IHoldShift, of course. We have North American Challengers Elite Stage 5, Week 1, Day 1. That's a mouthful and a half. Fast approaching. We'll be returning, I want to say, in about 2 hours and a half, I want to say, for the community stream for that one. And, of course, we alone will not be returning. youtube.com/Quad Challengers. Spaceman, Alleycat, and Fox will also be there casting the North American matches once again. So make sure you guys tune in again around 1 a.m. BST for that. But for now, from myself and Enigma, thank you to everyone for tuning in to today's set of matches here for European Challengers Elite. We'll be seeing you tomorrow.
And I've been chillin', watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our growlings when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kiss